Bobby on the green like Mario and Yoshi.
Stage 1 podcast, legacy to legal, stoop to store. I did it backwards. Stoop to store, legacy to legal. It doesn't matter which direction it goes. I feel like it's like whatever.
They know what time it is.
They know what time it is.
They know where we went to and where we came from and all that. You know what I mean?
I should probably maybe even talking to the mic, maybe even like act like I've done this before. Stage 1 podcast, stoop to store, legacy to legal. You know how we do. We are here with my man Alex from Revert. Give it up for Alex. Revert. We talk about Revert.
Thanks, guys.
A lot.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Day one partner.
Day one partner.
Stage 1.
Yeah, this is crazy. Come a long way for sure.
Hell yeah.
Fucking doing the first deliveries here.
Stage 1, day 1.
I did all the deliveries here for a long time.
Yeah.
And fucking here we are, right?
And here we are.
Yeah.
Now you're like the man over at Revert.
Yeah, fucking I try to be, you know what I mean? I said the same thing to him. I'm like, the last original employee, beside a few others, you know what I mean, that's not one of the owners.
Yeah.
I still will never work as hard as the owners do, but I try to, you know what I mean? I'm pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we all just do this fucking working hard, and
That's
small team, we all just do the show ourselves, so it's great. It's
That's
fun.
it. So at New York, that's like been like a lot of the New York industry is that. There's, the MSOs, which we also talk about that are in here. They haven't made it too difficult for anybody yet. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about like that piece? Because I know like when we first started, and they were really trying hard to keep the MSOs out.
Yeah, it's funny. I was this guy from traditional market hit me with this when I was still on that side a little bit before things took off. He said this to me, and it was like a fair point that we're all MSOs. He was like, well, you guys have some owners that do out-of-state work, right? So you're an MSO too. It doesn't mean that you're an MSO that we all think of.
Stop.
But there's a lot of definition behind that term that has to be like deciphered. You know what I mean? So I think there needs to be a new moniker or something. But so
registered organization, RO or whatever.
Right. I think RO is more for sure. RO is 100%. But I think there's obviously value to bringing talent from out of state. But there's certainly lines to it and how much you still care about the product. But the other thing that's big to me is like we were talking about even before this, like at the intersection of cannabis culture that we know and where it's going to go, becoming less a piece of counterculture and more just a piece of regular culture, is somebody has to be the Walmart and the Target and the Amazon of this cannabis shit. Somebody's going to do it.
So
it's going to happen.
The Gucci and the Louis.
100%. I mean, there are consumers for every product, for every end of the spectrum. So I've used the term Budweiser smokers for years as a joke.
Yeah,
but
no,
like,
it's
and now like Revert certainly maybe not in a bad way at all catered to the Budweiser smokers, the more affordable smokers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, when we first opened, you guys,
$34 age.
well, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
When we first opened, you guys were the first. There was Peregrine Toke too. Shout out to Kate over there.
Shout out to Kate. Peregrine Toke,
You guys came in at that 33 price point right when we opened up the New York market. It took Massachusetts a good 2 years to get under 50 and eighth. You know what I'm saying?
And it's funny you say that. We were talking about that before too. That like Jersey only went all, New York went a lot of outdoor licenses. People were mad, whatever.
Yeah.
Jersey went all indoor licenses, and they only have $60, $50 eighths. And I bought some stuff that it was pretty good, but I'm like, there has to be some sort of spectrum of prices across the board.
Absolutely.
So
I think they need to just stop fucking with people and like let them grow what they want. If they want to be indoor, let them be indoor. Outdoor, let them be outdoor.
Well, that too.
I don't
sure.
understand why.
I mean, because they want to like control the licenses to that degree and like have that level of like input, I guess.
It'd be great if they knew what they were talking about.
Exactly.
I think you probably know how we feel about the specifics with licenses, I'll say.
Yeah.
Address changes and all these things.
Yeah.
That they fucking just go. They're
What
so
about the address
They're just so
changes?
crazy about all these little things.
Well,
I'm like,
no,
just like that. Like
that's
it's been
less
impossible
about
for moving like
to
retail
move
locations are
farms,
impossible.
move
And like
locations
just
and
any
shit.
of these small things, they make you jump through all of these loopholes.
But they also
And your local
aren't really
municipalities.
responsive. Is more what I think it's like lack of being well staffed enough.
Well, that's just it. They just physically don't have.
They don't have the people. So then when anybody who's actually legitimately doing things wants to make a change that will be helpful to their business, it's impossible to get a hold of people, like, you know,
Right.
and get an answer back on on something that's scale, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
it's nothing. It's not to take away from their shortcomings or say it's not their fault at all, but
Right.
it's completely a staffing issue. They just don't have the people to keep up with the influx. They say they want 1,000 stores by the end of next year, all of these numbers and the da-da-da. But how are you ever going to keep up with the licenses with the staffing that they have?
I mean, they're having a hard
so that's
time.
a
They're
totally
still on
fair point.
2023 for the micros, like
For sure. And,
Yeah,
and you know, but it's the same thing. Like, this will step out of, people still have the cannabis mindset, but it will step into just being regular business retail at the end of the day, just the same as any other industry. And I think a lot of people are kind of seeing that transition now. Like we were talking about the difference between just like even a lot of the card stores versus like the retail stores. I think 2025 is really the year we're going to see these big MSOs come in, and you know, people are opening chains of stores. I'm seeing a lot of multi-stores pop up all new at the same time. I'm seeing a lot of new.
Yeah, I've seen that
I'm
too.
sure you guys
Yeah.
have had more vendors walking in your door trying to offer get your products on the shelf, whatever,
yeah.
more
Yeah.
than ever. 100%. Like
Yeah.
there are so many brands coming out right now, and a lot of them are small guys doing their thing too, for sure. I'm always going to support them. You know,
Yeah, yeah, that's-
we're talking about the new roots. We got that on
that's
the
who
table.
I'm seeking
Shout
out right now.
You know what I mean?
You know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
And
Yeah,
it's
we're
like-
excited for the micros for that, because
Right.
like the small batch shit is
But
really
the
going to
other
be where
the
it's
other
at.
side will always be there, and
Yeah,
there's
for
no
sure.
escaping it. And if you try to run away from it and only live in the craft side of things, you're missing the
there's gotta
largest
be a
majority
balance.
of.
Yeah,
you
you
might
gotta
not get
balance.
along with those people the most, and you might not sit down and smoke with them and hang out and talk about weed. But like, if you're in retail, you want them to come to your shop, and you know what I mean. So you still want to have something for them.
But I mean, you know, also like, you know, Curaleaf fucking sponsored an episode of the Benny the Butcher episode of our podcast,
Okay.
and they're
Yeah, I
so
see
that's
that.
a
I see the
great
selective.
partnership thing that they did. Like all the
Right.
shelves are. So when we
That's
do,
cool.
when we're able to like, you know, use that, and then they're gonna play the game too. They're not like trying to. They're like, the rumor was, oh, they're gonna get in, and then they're gonna like ostracize people and just like take over and bully motherfuckers and like get in and make and like try to like outprice everybody and do all this fuck shit. And I don't see that happening yet. I'm not ruling it out for the future, but right now they've been pretty good partners for us, the people that we've
Sure.
interacted with thus far, and they understand that we've built relationships and partnerships with all these other brands that came in early that aren't that are like local, that are part of our community, that we want to see succeed, and they're not trying to put everybody out of business. They know that a fucking good market has variety, right?
Right.
Not just their brands, but all the brands. So I don't think they're trying to come in and disrupt the market in a negative way, or I haven't seen that yet. That was the prediction that everybody was trying to make. Oh, they're gonna, but that hasn't happened yet.
I mean, I think they're just playing more of a long-term. I think they're playing more of a long-term game.
Yeah.
I think they're like New York again. I'll say it a million times. Whatever is such a unique market that they know that nobody can really come in and take it over. There will always be. I mean, even just like like why I was going to say this about craft stuff. What is it? 40% of beer and stuff like that in New York State they say is craft. Like craft beer is a huge thing in New York State. There is that mindset, especially in the city, for craft stuff, for high end, for luxury, whatever.
Yeah.
So it'll always be there, but I think they know that they can only take the portion of the market they can and just hold on to it and just play the long game and be in the other states they're in and do really good in those states and kill the medical market in New York and all the other states that they're in.
Yeah.
I think as long as they have their portion of New York, maybe down the road they'll wait for other people to kind of fall off and say, hey, we're still here for you. We still have flour for you. We'll always have flour for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I also see they're
but-
gonna get into the retail space, and they're gonna wait for the right moment. And I think what that right moment is gonna be when the Dasney stores start to drop.
Sure.
And they're gonna swoop in and pick up the Dasney stores.
That's not a bad prediction.
Yeah. And then because they're in the best locations, they have these massive, ridiculous build-outs.
And they already have
and
somewhat of a following.
And they already will have at least a little bit of a following, not enough to actually be a profitable store.
But they can.
Weather
Turn
that.
it into
They can change that. They can change that.
And if the rumors allegedly are that I heard, from all these different places, is that the ROs and MSOs are like behind the fund, right? So like the fund, the fund that backed Dasney has like a bunch of MSOs in the shadows.
Sure.
So that's like almost like
fucking
that's the
vultures.
long game. You know what I mean?
100%.
So-
Well, that's kind of what I mean. I think they're just looking more for big business, and I mean, and that's honestly the other good point is that they're just focused on their own retail. I think why flood their product into other competitive stores when they open up? You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
But yeah, like I said,
I mean, there
always-
are some that are dying to get in here, or died to get, like, wanted really
Right.
badly to get in here and have and are in, and so they're, that is happening.
And I got some good friends at Curaleaf. There's some good people that work
Yeah,
there.
they're,
It's
I
like
mean,
you were
yeah,
saying, like it's
exactly.
nothing.
They're from the community. I got good friends that work at Curaleaf too. Like,
And like I love the people that, Etain is now under Fluent, a company from Florida, I believe.
Did they just buy into a bunch of New York brands? Is there any truth to
Well,
that?
I wouldn't be surprised because, like I said, now it's under a different company.
I heard they
But
did.
everybody at Etain, that was a New York founded company. They were great. They've always been awesome. I've talked to people from cultivation before. I have a friend who worked at the cultivation site up in Chestertown. So the Etain was always great. I see Rise GTI coming in and doing really big things. Of course, not to name whatever we talk.
No,
about. But when we talk about Curaleaf, there are other big players. I think they're kind of it's the same thing. They're the name that everybody thinks of, but there are other. I mean, you look at the
and they're just for here local. They've been local here for like 5 years or whatever, 6 years, and they've had a presence in the capital region because they have their main facility in Coxsackie, which is like or not in whatever
was it
fucking
Ravenna or something like that?
Ravenna, and it's like, and there's like a lot of people that work there, like.
Right, yeah, I know some people work there too.
Yeah,
of course, everybody, yeah.
Everybody.
No, and I mean, it's fun, but like when you look at the list, and this is something else we can talk about. Like I see so many different numbers of like top 10 stores in the state. These people are doing the best. That I see a lot of different numbers depending on the service that it's coming from. Whatever it seems like, they're all just estimates. So maybe they're off. I don't know what it is. But it
there's
seems
no hub for this information.
it's right. It's all. Some of them are doing menu driven. Some of them are doing state driven.
Like Little Alerts is what is a name that I hear a lot.
We're talking to Pistol Data. I mean, we use Headset.
Do you have Little Alerts or no?
No, we don't have any of those because I mean, like I said, we run like a small business. We just I just do the research and we just hit the ground and you know what I mean. We just find the shit.
It's hard, yeah, because I hear numbers and rumors, and when I read the New York Times articles and they're actually spitting out real numbers. I don't know. Did you see that New York Times article that just came out?
I mean, the point of me saying that was just that, like,
About the overhead and shit?
I do see Rise
Yeah.
stores on that top 10 list pretty consistently, almost more than the Curaleaf stores. Like, their stores are doing really good. They have brands that are doing really good.
Where are their stores?
Half Moon.
Half Moon, Clifton Park,
Henrietta, like East Rochester. And
the Half Moon location's new, right? And
No,
massive.
it's been
no,
there.
that's been-
That used to be medical, and
that
then
was
they
like
went
that
to
was
rec.
always like the med one in the area for us up in that Clifton Park.
So they
Saratoga
already
area.
were like they already had like a customer base and shit there, and
And I have a third one. I don't know why I'm blanking. Syracuse, I think. I think it's Syracuse. I don't know. I'm forgetting. We're in
Syracuse,
there,
Rochester, and Clifton
Half
Park.
Moon. Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, all that the data is it's hard to track. We're really trying to become more data driven right now and track the numbers and to help stores track inventory and to see where we're doing the best area wise and where we feel like we have a lapse of this type of town we should be going after or like. But it's just again, it's very hard. I don't know what to trust. A lot of that stuff is like super expensive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we are doing pretty,
And it's hard
good.
And it's hard to trust exactly that any of it's real or, I don't know. I've seen like demos of shit and I'm like, that's not real. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't know how they're gathering. Who is like Dutchie selling people fucking data or something? Like,
Well, so that's what they say, menu driven, and they say they could get a lot of this information from people's menus or their websites or something.
but how do you get it from the menu? Because they don't know how many of any one product that we have and that we're selling.
Yeah,
like,
I was very interested.
How many people do they know that we're seeing a day? Like, how is that I don't know. Like, where are they getting that data?
I know in this
It's Dutchie.
in this demo, he was showing me everything of this store had this many. He could show me everything I could pull a list of Revert is in these stores, or say Revert is not in these stores, but whatever X competitor is in those stores, I can pull that list and know that those are the stores we should go after because they sell a competitive product, and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and they do well.
Everything. Like, it could tell me if they sold 1 or 1,000 of that product at every single store, even not even our brands, just other people's stuff. I could tell you how many heirlooms sold.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah. I do wonder how accurate that is.
I like how you refer to it as traditional. Like the traditional
I don't know what
market.
fucking term to,
Where did you?
I hate that shit. Like,
but where did you hear traditional? I never heard anybody refer to as a traditional. It's
that's kind of like
legacy.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Partially because of me. You know, it's
I
like
like the same type of word though.
You know what it is?
Has the same meaning.
No, it does. I just never heard. I just heard that word.
Whenever I said legacy, I'm young. Like, dudes looked at me like I'm fucking crazy. They're like, "What do you mean your legacy?"
Yeah,
like,
I
I've seen
get that.
more weed than half of it. You know what I mean? I don't know how to tell them. I'm like, yo, like I'm real. Like, I am legacy. Like, you know
Some
what
of
I mean?
these dudes,
Yeah.
you've been smoking 40 years, so
well,
what?
that's what I
You
mean.
smoke
Like,
dirt,
it's like
bro.
you give respect where
You
it's
think
due. Some of
dirt
these
is
dudes
good.
have really been doing it. Some of these dudes have really like done their shit and know their. But then some of them just think that time equals knowledge.
And like
you know
literally,
what I mean?
they don't know shit. Like,
Yeah,
I've met so many old people who have been smoking for decades, and they don't really know shit about weed.
Right.
They don't know nothing. Like, and I know plenty of old heads that know tons.
That's
You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. There are people in this industry that deserve to be there, 100%.
Yeah, for the most part, people think like they have their seniority.
Yeah,
it makes them
I'm
more,
automatically, like I said, I walk into a store, anything like that, I'm automatically just a step down most of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm automatically not on an even playing field for anybody like older than me. They just
I
know
gotta hear
more
about
than me.
Acapulco Gold
And,
one more fucking time.
Yeah, I mean, right. Usually I start talking for a minute and it
Want to
goes
bring
away,
up those
you know what I mean?
cannabis fucking plant those trading cards that fucking Cam dropped by the other day.
East Indica.
Fuck.
Yeah,
we have some.
but we got these shits are vintage though. Like he dropped
70s,
off
bro.
he dropped off the like all these fucking high times from like the 70s through the 90s.
Cool story
And,
about
like,
one of the high times. I'll tell you in a second.
and then a bunch of trading cards from like the same era. But like the fucking picture of Acapulco Gold on the one trading card,
straight.
yo, shit is disgusting. Son. Shit looks like a pile of dirt, like straight dirt. Like it doesn't even look like weed. And then there's like a high times from like the 80s with fucking Tommy Chong, and he's holding this like butt of swag. Like that shit looked crazy. Like and he's like proud of that shit on the cover of High Times. And I'm like, how far have we fucking come?
Yeah, they were the real pioneers because they were willing to smoke that shit.
Yeah, and
I might have looked at that shit and been like, no, I'm not doing that shit, bro. That's crazy.
I mean, but that's what it was back then. That's all there was. But I remember in the 90s, like, we had brick weed like a motherfucker. We talk about this shit.
That's what I started on. I started on some dirt.
But now it's like...
How old are you, Alex?
I was 27. I was like right at that cusp. I saw brick
So, yeah,
weed maybe twice in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got good.
Beasters weren't really around anymore.
Oh, wow.
I always
I
hear
saw
Beasters.
fucking
I think I
hundreds
might
of pounds
I might have seen
Beasters.
Beasters. You know what I mean?
I feel like
I've seen a
the
ton
Beast
of
and
Reggie.
brick weed
You know what I
disappeared
mean?
at the same time because
Yeah.
BC, with the legalization in America,
I've seen a ton of fucking Canada weed.
BC and Mexico became not needed anymore.
Right.
All the weed got grown in our borders.
In California mostly.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Cali, and then Colorado,
And then
fucking,
Oklahoma,
Oregon, this
Fucking
fucking
Oregon and Washington,
Maine.
a lot of shit was coming out of it for sure.
Yeah,
Washington, yeah.
Oregon.
And just
A lot of great
So-
shit now is coming from Maine.
Well, now the fire, yeah, for sure. Maine, Michigan, Michigan's doing some shit.
almost all the weed I
Maine's doing
smoke
some
is
fire shit.
from Maine.
Yeah, Maine's doing some fire shit. Yeah, I mean, these are what Brad. So Brad, who one of the owners of our company, also has an indoor grow up in Maine.
In Maine,
So so that's where all the strains for like the Golden Garden are all like grown up in Maine.
Yeah.
So that's like a big thing with us is like just consistency on strains and shit like that. You know what I mean? So we know the genetics.
You
of
already
everything
have
we're
your
growing.
genetics.
Yeah, we're not
already
just like
popping in Maine, and they're
Yeah,
like,
I
all right,
think
we're gonna
there's a
bring
lot of
these
just like
into
people
New
just
York and make them.
right.
do
People
what
just
they
go by
do.
the name.
Yeah.
People just buy genetics by the name and throw whatever. But we have like vetted results behind them, whatever. So
Nice.
But yeah, so like I'm buying this for head smoke all the time. The rosin, I'm like I'm still just buying it for the low. He just washes most of his shit up there. But yeah, the flower is looks like his indoor now, so we're super excited about it for sure.
Sick.
So I hear like a lot of old heads say, not old, but a lot of older people say, when I used to smoke back in the day, I used to smoke one blunt and be high for most of the day. And saying that as an example, do you think the cannabis, like the Acapulco Gold and those green, like the brick weed, certain ones and stuff, do you think it was more pure back in the day?
It's funny, you actually just kind of, I thought you were going to ask a question and then that was going to be the answer. You kind of just answered the question. I think that the genetics are just a lot different nowadays.
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
they're just not as pure. There's no, like, the term landrace, like, doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, that was...
everything's across,
Everything's
across.
across.
Yeah,
And
100%.
they're all done. They're all done in the race to get different terp profiles, fucking shit that's a little bit easier to grow, will give you a better yield, might have more bag appeal, a good nose, like those. That's what it's being chosen upon.
It's in the search of yield or terps.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're not like, it's not in the search. It's definitely not in the trying to maintain the most pure genetics. That's definitely not.
I think something to say with that too is though, like with the people, like the people who are saying that, I think a lot of times people forget that as time goes on, your tolerance changes. So like back in the day, I could see someone getting higher than they get now
facts.
Because it's like you've been this 20 years later, you've been smoking for 20 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not gonna hit the same.
True.
I want to add that thanks. I just blanked. I want to add that the THC percentages on everything we have these days is just higher. Like, everybody's, cartridges, concentrates, edibles. People are eating
even the
hundreds
flower.
of milligrams. Some people eat edibles. Like, and the flower, the percentage is so much higher. Everybody's tolerances are wrecked now. That's why you got higher off the weed 10 years ago, 15 years ago. A lot of the best weed we smoked growing up, 14% probably.
I mean, the
13%,
Acapulco Gold is probably
15%.
fucking 7%.
Yeah,
what are we talking
exactly.
about?
Exactly.
Also,
That's the
too,
point.
I think to what Scotty's saying is like everyone's so focused on THC. They want that high THC percentage, and I think that has like kind of put a little bit of detriment to the industry in the fact that like, what about all the other cannabinoids? Right. Nobody cares about any of that, and I feel like that's probably why back in the day it was hitting differently because the THC percentage
wasn't as high, and there was room for the other cannabinoids and
the terps,
and different terps. It's like even like maybe the best. We don't know shit about it, right? So maybe because we haven't done any actual research. We're just now starting to do the research because shit's legal. So universities are getting in on it and shit. But like, fucking, we don't even know what terpenes have what effects necessarily at all, or what. We have an idea of cannabinoids more than anything, I think. But the terpenes are just like, that's my favorite flavor. Right. That's my favorite. But like, what are the effects of the terpenes? Mm-hmm. Do people, and is your favorite flavor even the one that gives you your favorite effects, or maybe you don't even like the terpenes that give you your favorite effects? Fuck it,
Yeah, for sure.
Shit doesn't even taste good. I don't know.
That sounds like what could lead to all these people talking about how weed makes them anxious. Because they're probably smoking something that tastes pretty good to their senses, but then the high that comes along with it is like, oh wait a minute.
It's too much. It's or in the wrong direction, because that's what that terpene does. Right. But they love the flavor and the smell and the bag appeal is there, and like all of the things that people shop for their weed for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think the anxiety thing is kind of just such a tough, like, person to person, like, thing. I don't know. It's hard. I've never like smoked a strain that's done that to me. So it's like I feel bad. I like try to relate to it.
That's because you're fucking 27, right? So like,
well, yeah.
I feel like it would have happened already.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was just saying, I don't know. A lot of my friends.
I got friends that like could smoke weed all through our 20s, and as soon as they hit like 35,
it's definitely right.
See, I hit my first bug out like the first 2 months I smoked.
I think it's more about the person and less about the weed.
That's what I kind of.
If you're a person who's more prone to anxiety, then weed might.
It might even just be like a normal high, just like this just was not a high they were expecting, so they're not comfortable with it. And it just throws them off enough, right? Right. Yeah, right. It comes on too quick. Yeah.
And then environment as well,
right.
where you are. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like if you're in a certain place, that high that might have hit you in the house one way.
Right.
Well, right. You walk outside and you're like, oh shit.
If you were on the couch watching a movie, you're like, oh, that shit is great. But if you're fucking, you run into like somebody who you didn't really want to see at the supermarket, and they want to talk to you, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw the old.
I got this list
No,
that
I
my
had
fucking wife gave me, and it's in my head, and right now that shit is like I gotta feel like I gotta put that shit in my phone. But then if I do that, how am I supposed to listen to you talking to me? And shit? You know what I mean? Like
You're like, oh shit, I just got done smoking
this
weed.
is-
It's gotta be the weed.
This is terrible time, and I'm
It's
super
nothing else.
high.
It's the weed's
just
fault.
the weed.
It's
It's
the
nothing
weed's
else.
fault. No, I had basically my best friend growing up. I had a homie who like, for a couple of years, we were probably 22, 23. He was like pretty big stoner. I mean, I was kind of whatever, the first one really, and I'm always into it. People literally still said to me like, I've never met someone like you're like. I feel like people in that late 20s kind of like almost fall off with weed a little bit. Either you like really dive into it, or you kind of like get a little sick of it, or like you just your relationship
Priorities
changes
change.
with it regardless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I've just always been whatever. So, but like my buddy, we smoked a lot, whatever. For a while, he would just have he would have panic attacks, or he would just really freak out. Like when we smoked, it wouldn't even be too much. I tried to smoke less with him, and it just wouldn't work. This kid would freak out like every time, and so it turned into like a babysitting act. Whenever I felt so bad, like I loved him, and I did it every time. He was like my brother, so I didn't care. But at the end of the day, I was like, bro, you gotta stop or something. Like we gotta figure this out, bro. And like it would just be like, and so he would be like, I'm gonna die. Am I gonna die? He's like, tell me I'm not going to
So
die.
it was like green
I was
out like every time he smoked.
it was like, it wasn't even a green out. He was like perfectly, he was just like, he just couldn't like accept the high that he like had. Like, I'm like, bro, like just come to terms with what is happening. You're fine. Like you will be okay
fucking
in
weed,
an hour, bro. Like 2 hours, you'll be fine. Like, so it was just so funny.
You'd
Like,
be
am
the
I gonna
first to
die?
overdose.
Yeah,
You'd be the
right.
very first
I'm
one.
like, I literally was like, bro, nobody has died. Yeah, I guess like they said something like the first cannabis-related death just happened somewhat recently, or something about.
I don't believe it.
But it was in a production facility. Someone inhaling like particles. Wasn't anything smoking. So still nobody is.
stop.
But like,
They just be reaching, they be trying. They want so bad for something.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
die off of
even
weed.
still, it's just funny to think that like still nobody died from smoking it. You had to put somebody in a room and suffocate them with it. Like not even smoking. Like, you know, like
That's crazy.
yeah, so you guys got to spare one of those heirlooms?
Heirloom. Shout out to Heirloom.
Can I have one of those?
Yeah, bro.
Sponsoring our drinks.
Yeah, they're just fire. Shout out the guys, Nick.
Yeah.
yeah, for real, man.
Word.
Heirloom looking
Nick
out.
B. Blessing. Shout out to Nick and Mac.
We stopped saying
And
cut the
Max.
check for a
Yeah,
reason.
Max.
Yeah.
We always used to tell them to cut the
We
check.
always
That's
just
how-
yeah. Now the checks are getting cut.
Yes, buy-
That's what I said.
It is.
That's what I said. You notice we stopped saying
Spoke
it.
that shit. We spoke that shit to
manifested that
existence
shit.
already.
That
We
was a
fucking-
thing in the beginning of the pod. Like we did that
It
shit like
was every episode.
18 weeks in a row. Like
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah,
That was that season 1 shit.
that was that season 1 shit.
Season
Facts.
2, we got that sponsorship, baby.
Hey. So let's talk about Golden Garden, because that's
Yeah.
like also a Revert brand, right?
Yeah, so that's kind of like the difference for us. So, you know, like our company will be Capital Region Co. We're kind of like establishing ourselves as like a brand house
Yeah.
to hold all of these things. You know, so Golden Garden is our second establishment. Everyone knows Revert, you know. But so we wanted to separate more of just, you know, different aesthetic for the product, different, I guess, product or customer base, I should say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just gives off more of a feeling of luxury. You know what I mean? It's got the nice view window in the back. We love putting it on the bud bar, because this is really about like seeing the flower.
Yeah.
And knowing it's, you know what I mean? But still somewhat affordable. You know what I mean? Like $40 an eighth plus tax.
Yeah.
$10 on the 1 gram pre-roll. Like, you know what I mean?
And what makes this bud? Where's this?
open?
Yeah, they're all open. Yeah, check them
They're
out.
all open.
Yeah,
What makes this like different from?
Yeah, so like
The
we were,
Revert
you know,
brand.
we were talking about the genetics. I mean,
Yeah.
different from Revert. I mean, like I said, it's light assisted greenhouse grown.
There you go.
So it's all, you know, like I said, in a greenhouse with the same lights you would use indoor. Just in that greenhouse, they, you know, turn it pretty much every 30 days. We have like a mother room, a veg room as well.
Is it,
So it's perpetual. It's always fresh flower in the bags. It's all
Yeah.
hand trimmed. We don't do any. I mean, even the Revert is all hand trimmed. Like we
Yeah,
don't do
yeah.
any machine trimming. A lot of people don't know that. Like, you know, they just expect a $35 eighth to be machine trimmed.
Yeah.
But it's still all hand
All
trimmed.
hand trimmed.
But this stuff is really hand trimmed, hand packaged. The Revert is now machine packaged, but this is all still hand packaged.
Yeah.
Very finely done. There's a team of like 4 or 5 people that they work the greenhouse full time, and that's it. You know what I mean? We'll pull a few extra maybe for trimming that are experienced, but other than that, like
And it's like climate
very
controlled.
dedicated.
Greenhouse.
Yeah. But yeah, so just like I said, the strains are all super legit. We wanted to kind of bring somewhat new terp profiles, but stuff people still kind of new. You know what I mean? Like The Banana Conda is pretty new. The Dulce de Uva is pretty new. People know, like, of course, the London Pound Cake, the Jealousy. The Super Boof is really rising in popularity right now. The Blue Zushi. You know what I mean? So Super Boof, the Blue Zushi have definitely been doing the best so far.
Yeah, Super Boof is having a run this year for sure.
Yeah, just one strain of the year.
Well, shout out to
Yeah,
Trap
yeah.
Cherry, man. Shout out to the
for
Trap
sure.
Cherry, because that's
It's what,
That-
Super,
I
was that
think-
Black Cherry Punch and Trap Cherry or something like that? Is
I
that
got
what the Super
Trap
Boof
Cherry
is?
right here from
I believe so.
Untitled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, you want to roll some of this up?
I would love to.
Yeah, I was gonna say that or try the Super OMFO.
I rolled it up here. I'm gonna smoke some. This, yeah.
I was gonna try the Super
Second.
Boof too.
Yeah.
And then
we
you
got
got
these
the,
fucking. But yeah, so we also do, like I said, the 1 gram pre rolls. It's all like small nug. Not we do. There might be some sugar leaf, but it's no shake, no trim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. So the pre rolls smoke really great. So stores have really been kind of starting out with those. Let the product get out there.
Yeah.
See that the strains are unique. But it's all breeder cuts, so it's all consistent. It's all solid genetics. You know what I mean.
Nice. And you're putting. You got.
Yep. Yeah.
Boost
we put
packs in there.
we put the boost packs in
Yeah,
there.
that keeps the flower nice and fresh.
Yeah, because it's at the end of the day, it's like, of course, there's internal debate, of course, about whether jars, whatever. Jars are certainly more expensive, and it's just like logistics-wise, it's so hard to transport. How are we going to transport jars? How are we going to store 10,000 jars when we need to package all of the flour? And how are we going to do all of these things with jars? Mylar bags are just so much easier to use, but there's obviously a little bit, whatever, more airflow in them. So we just wanted to try to. This flour definitely needs it. The Revert kind of seems to stay pretty well in the bags. I don't know if it's a difference in bags. They're a little bit different material, but we were just noticing with the first batch that went out.
And there's no view. There's no view in the Revert either. There's no light getting in there.
So I'm pretty sure it's different material. But so it's like we were having some complaints with some stores at first that it was just drying out on them after a couple weeks sitting on the shelf, whatever. So since then, it's just been. I mean, you guys are looking at it. It all feels fresh. Whatever,
yeah, it all feels fresh. Yeah.
Yeah. Even still, like I said, it would be harvested within the last 30 days, and it was weird. It was drying out quick. So
shout out to Matt. Matt, a couple episodes ago, was really like went in on a whole thing about Boveda packs and shit. That's not Boveda. That's a different brand. What brand is that?
Integra Boost.
Integra Boost. Similar.
Technically a different.
The comments
chemical,
came from
but
Matt.
it's the same thing.
Yeah, the Boveda.
Yeah.
He was talking.
Like,
He
I feel like I
dropped a
saw
lot
that,
of
but-
knowledge about about Boveda and or just about moisture packs in general, and like the percentage that you want of and
Right, the 57 versus the 62.
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
100%. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's not ideal. It's just the best for the flower. It's not ideal. We wish it would just stay as is in the bags, but it's
it ends up being.
Yeah.
He was talking about like how the flower will dry out and lose weight, and we had this whole.
I do remember seeing this now.
And then we had this whole like if you're fucking. This whole time you thought your boy was pinching your stash, but it was just fucking.
Yeah. Oh, this happened to me. Oh yeah, when I was like 17 or some shit, and this kid that I grew up with, like he was the first person I ever smoked weed with when I was like 14.
Yeah.
He sold me some like fresh like plants. Like he sold me like a branch of a plant, and like
I got a branch.
He didn't charge me like the normal price of weed, but like he told me that the weight of like when I dried it, was like how much I was gonna get, and it was like I didn't get. He was like, oh yeah, you'll get like a half ounce or whatever, and I got like maybe an eighth or some shit when I dried it out. So I was like, wow, I just paid whatever, like $100 for a fucking eighth of weed or some shit. So he did no work. He just harvested the plant, just here you go, and fucking you deal with it. Granted, I just got nothing out of it, so it was just fuck.
You live and you learn, right?
I had no, so it probably was like what 20%, 30% of the water weight,
right?
Of the like fresh weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just crazy.
Well, I had it more like you buy a fucking quap off your boy, and then it sits in your shit, and then you bust it down, and then it's like
well, if they don't take care of it, right?
3 3/4 ounces, and you're like, who took that fucking 7 from me, bro?
I'm pretty sure I lost like a good.
It's like the fucking air, bro. The air took that 7, bro. You let that shit sit for too long.
No, in my days, I've fucking having a lot of weed around the house, selling weed. I probably lost a lot of money of just not caring for it and buying. I was like, fuck the Boveda packs, fuck that. I'm just gonna sell it fast enough and whatever. And then I'm like, yeah, damn, I definitely had 3/4 of a pound, and now I'm barely selling a half pound to this dude. What the fuck is going on? Like, I definitely had more weed in this bag.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a victim of that. So that sucks. Yeah, but I might honestly spark one of these. Let you guys try these, or all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the new infused pre-rolls. Revert kind of came out with. This must have been the one I smoked out of already. That's funny. Yeah, but we came out with a bunch of new strains for the flower. Kind of dropped some of the old strains, and then we came out with a bunch of just all new strains for these. We just wanted like a fresh start on everything, and to really kind of hit the ground and going into 2025
I like that you guys kept your start. You know what I mean? You guys kept your strains going for a minute, and then it was like real fucking consistent, and then you switched it up. Do you feel like you maintained your customer base on that switch up?
It's funny, we were talking about that might be, I don't think it'll be a challenge, but it will be a little bit of a learning curve to help those people find some of their new strains. I'm sure we'll lose a small percent of people, but we'll also gain a percentage of people who, I love Sunset Sherbet, I love Cap Junkie.
The main one that's been, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I was going to say the main one that's been, I'm sure we all know what I'm about to say, that Strawberry Amnesia.
Oh well, yeah, we had to keep those. We had to keep the pineapple and the strawberry and Asia around. That's different.
They were tight.
And they were newer.
Customers that were coming in like legit getting pissed. Like, what do you mean? There's no more strawberry amnesia? What am I gonna smoke now?
Right. That's what I mean.
So the people who love that, they love that.
I've definitely heard it about the Baby Yoda and the Gelato Fire, and like my favorite was always the Sunday Driver or the Wedding Cake. I heard it about the Sunday Driver a lot already. You know what I mean? But like it's kind of the same thing. I think we just wanted a fresh start, and it's like, you know what I mean. It's more about brand loyalty at that point. People love, and that's why we just like appreciate. We came at like we do the ground flower. People love the ground flower for sure. Like we know the infused pre-rolls are going to do great. It's just about like supporting everything we do and just kind of putting a little faith in us. Totally. And you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like it's hard to, you know what I mean? That's also why we want to come out with different brands, because we almost have different separate teams running each brand, the products behind it, whatever. So we want to really be able to show that, like, we want to say we're the experts in this field, and then we're the experts in this field. You know what I mean? So we won't come out with 1 million products under Revert. Most likely, we'll expand a little bit, but it'll always be more affordable products. Sure. Revert will always be there for value-driven products. Right. You know what I mean? Golden Garden will be, we want to do some solventless stuff that'll go under the Golden Garden line. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like the separation. Is more premium products, more basic products. But it's just good to really show, like, hey, we can really do this the best. Like, we don't want to just muddy up the Revert does fucking everything. We, you know what I mean? I see brand, there's, we have indoor flower and greenhouse flower and outdoor flower and this and then. I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? People like strains, and if they see a strain that's $50 that they really like, it's like, well, fuck, I would have bought that, but I can't. You know what I mean? Like, if you're, it's just you got to separate by brand. That, like we were talking about marketing and shit. Like, you kind of need that separation of brands a little bit.
I think a lot of brands don't know who they are. Yeah,
right.
They're just exactly. Oh, we'll figure it out as we go.
Get as many products out as we can.
Yeah. They're just throwing shit at the wall, seeing what sticks, and it's like,
right.
Maybe nothing's not going to stick now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
and I think.
These infused. Oh, go ahead.
I think it's smart to switch up the strains and to like keep swapping it out, but keeping the old, like the old favorites there, just because. There are also the people who are always like, oh, well, I smoked everything that Revert got. Like, what else you got?
Well, that's just it was almost like it's kind of like it's like you fucking can't please everybody. I don't even say it like that, but it's like if we never change it, then people will be like, oh, what the fuck? I don't want to smoke these strains forever.
I want some fresh
we
shit.
Needed to switch it up a little bit. You know what I mean? We just, and especially with outdoor flower, it gets so stagnant. We only have one harvest a year, one time a year, and it was pretty late this year. Obviously, you know what I mean. We wanted to drop it earlier, but that's how. So like, we don't want to have the same strains for another year.
Right.
Like, we wanted to switch it up a little bit.
How you guys choosing your strains?
It's like it really depends on what works best in the field. So, and that's kind of where the ground flower strains come from. It's kind of the strains that like didn't make the cut, weren't the best strains, whatever. Like, they were frosty, whatever. They would test well, but they just didn't have the bag appeal. So we kind of just base it on like which strains are. I mean, obviously it's marketability too. Some of them we knew, like we hoped were gonna work, but didn't grow as good in the field as they did. You know what I mean? But if I can tell, like the Cap Junkie will love it out here, stuff like that. You know what I mean? We'll do fine with the Cap Junkie growing out here. It's just based on like what does the best. Sure. And then we kind of sat down with all of them, and it's like a scale of. It's not like we have some fucking point system, but it's just kind of like, all right, well, this one is pretty marketable, and it also grew pretty well in the field, so we should use this one. Like, this one grew really well, but like the name, like what are we gonna do with this? You know what I mean?
So which one takes off the most boxes?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, for sure. But the infused,
Now, what are the infused pre-rolls? What do they consist of?
Yeah, so these are, I mean, they're your standard, they're half gram of flour and distillate.
Are they 2 packs?
No, they're 1 pack.
1 pack.
That's one single, but they're 0.2 grams of infusion per pre-roll.
Okay.
So like I feel like a lot of infused pre-rolls.
So does that mean 0.3 of flour and 0.2 of that, or 0.5 of flour?
0.5
then
flour,
so it's
0.2
0.7
of distillate.
technically.
Yeah, 0.7
Cool.
total. I feel like a lot of infused pre-rolls are just like
Yeah, well, some people
0.1
blur
or
those
0.05
lines, you
and,
know,
what I
like, they do that.
So it's like a 0.7 gram pre-roll. So that, and they're all 40 to 46% total active cannabinoids. Like they slap for sure. You know what I mean?
And it's their terp infused distillate.
Yeah, I mean there is a little bit of terp. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So that brings us to our this portion.
For sure,
Yeah,
100%.
you know, we do this. We talk about the spray pack. So we've had a lot of kind of discussions. Actually, I feel like
you know, it's like I feel like I almost should have said that.
I feel like my opinion on spray has evolved, and I'm not saying I'm pro spray, right? For me personally, for my taste,
Yeah.
I'm just saying my opinion on what spray is has evolved from when it was first introduced to me as something different,
well, that's just it. When you say that, it's like what spray is such a like.
I know.
I don't want to say street term, like you know,
Right.
to make it sound like fucking hood term or street term, but
Yeah.
it is such a like spray pack, like spray or
but it is but
sprinkles or
sprinkles,
whatever. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
but
Like,
it
it's
is
such
like
a,
that's just what the fuck is.
versus like I said, like when we're looking at it as a retail, like as an actual product, like as a retailable product, something that's gonna sell, and like
Yeah.
there's a balance of that. It's not all like, and so there's better ways to fucking make it than just like spraying. You know what I mean?
Spraying terps.
I think it's also like, you know, the big thing is, I'd say terps, but I would like to see what any of these spray packs that people know are spraying in the terps. I think it's kind of a
Like where the
balance
terps
of-
are coming from.
Yeah,
and shit.
100%. Botanical terpenes, if they're even botanical terpenes versus just 100% synthetic, or if they're at least cannabis-derived terpenes. You know what I mean? I think that's the balance of, you know,
Right.
like, you know, like even our vapes, like we do like a distillate vape, but it's at least cannabis-derived terpenes.
Yeah.
Like botanical, like I remember for years smoking vapes, and I would get like the tingle in my nose.
Yeah,
and I was like, what the fuck? And
Absolutely.
I've told so many people about that, and they're always like, what the fuck?
If it tingles your nose,
It's pretty good. It's that chop.
Like-
Yeah, that's that chop. Yeah.
it's definitely got terps in it. you know?
Yeah, but
Terps added
no,
to
I
it.
mean, I think there will eventually be. We were even just talking about it before. Like, there will be a market at some point for people who, like, don't mind that or like that, or you know what I mean?
There will be. There is.
It already
There
exists.
already it exists.
That's what I mean.
Like
100%.
So like it's not like that's the thing. Like the spray pack is like there is some shit in the black market that's happening that's different than what's happening in the legal market, because the legal market is like still regulated,
Right.
tested distillate being infused, and then the pre-rolls are 40%, 45%. You're getting a
We're
bang for
using
your buck out of it, as opposed
cannabis-derived terpenes.
right, as opposed to just trying to make your whack bullshit packs smell better, because that's what's happening to some other, you know, I don't know, but also not to say that that's not happening in the legal market though. Let's not get the shit twisted. There is some like bullshit trim that's like soaked in distillate
I think
and put
it's
in
more
and
like-
rolled up in pre-rolls and then rolled in keef. That is happening in on to certain degrees, that where it's not great bud inside the pre-roll itself.
Well, that's just it. I think it's a cheap, you know, people see it as an easy way to just move product or whatever. You know what I mean? For sure.
Right.
But
Or get a value add to something that may not be.
But it's like we were talking about. There's different lanes of consumers. Like there are people beyond just not even spray packs, like just of people who want affordable products that are enjoyable, and they might even be new to cannabis. They're not like typical stoners who look at it through that lens of like spray pack or like I need clean weed, or like they just want to smoke something that tastes good and gets them high, and oh my god, 40%, and it tastes great, and like and then there's also the people who want like hand trimmed, hand packaged flour, like great stuff, you know what I mean,
with good terps, that like natural
terp, right, 100%,
terps.
right.
I'd say 90% of our clientele doesn't know what the fuck a spray pack is. Straight up.
Yeah,
Like, they have no idea. Like,
And I think it's like I said, eventually it'll be like there will be people like advertising it on their products, like added terps, boom, like flavor, like look at fucking what is it like the camel, like the burst bead things and like the fucking, you know what I mean?
That's like people don't mind.
Oh, yeah,
people don't
wait,
mind.
isn't there like the fucking packs, the mini packs, whatever the fuck burst things? Packs had like a mini burst. Something or
that's
other,
like with a flavor burst in it.
Yeah, they had like a little like a 5, like it was like a little. It was like
so, but here, you know, here's
well, because they can't have flavored.
I don't know what the fuck. I swear.
Wait, no,
they had
I thought you were talking about the nicotine pods. Never mind.
No, are they?
packs,
Is that in New York that they're doing that though?
I swear I saw it. I
States?
could be. I swear I saw it.
I don't know. We don't have packs in the store, so I don't know too much about
I could
what
be
they're
wrong.
doing.
Somebody
with
got
the new
fact checked
shit.
me on that. But I don't know. I swear I saw they had like it was like mini burst. It was like a little, almost like whatever dog walker half gram infused pre roll. And I was like, what the fuck does it mean burst? What is it?
That's crazy.
It's like, what is bursting, bro?
I believe it though, because you got to think there's the people who smoke like the flavored wraps, and
Well, yeah,
Right.
I grew up on the
All those other
fucking
things.
on the pineapple games and
You know what I
fucking
mean? So
right.
one of those people who has that type of taste, like they like that thing, and they don't really know, like how you're saying, they don't know much about weed. Like they don't know to care.
Right.
You know what I mean? They
And
don't
that
even know
extra
to look for
flavor
those.
that's added into whatever
And
is
now we're
already
just
there is
smoking weed that
good
tastes
anyway.
good.
Yeah.
So it's like certain people are just happy with that.
I mean, a lot of them like still would not care.
Taste with like quality and shit.
Well, right, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hate to say it.
artificial taste.
Artificial taste, right?
And it's like, and it's sad to say we're also in that like that vape era. Like, you know what I mean? We're kind of in the day of
that's
like
what's
vapes,
driving
like
the
disposables.
Sprinkles brand and shit.
Well, yeah, it's not even that's driving the Sprinkles brands. It's driving all the fucking vape brands in New York
Well, no,
State
I
right
mean,
now.
like,
All the
I think
fucking
that's it.
all
I
the
think
grandmas and
the
white girls are going
Sprinkles
into
craze is an extension of that.
Sure,
Without a
yeah.
doubt, because
I know what you mean.
all the youth, this is what they do. They vape all these crazy flavors.
Right.
It's
Right.
like, oh, now my weed could have these
That's
flavors,
Right, I know what you mean, yeah.
and it's fashionable.
Yeah.
So
I want my it was like I want my vape.
That's fair. I think
I
it's
want
also
my weed to taste like my vape.
That's fair. Right. Well, right.
I want
That's
my vape
true.
to taste
Right.
good. I want my vape to taste fruity.
Right.
Not like me personally. If I'm gonna smoke a vape, I want that shit to be live rosin, and I want that
Right.
shit to taste like whatever strain that shit
Right,
is, and I
right.
want it to have the
I don't need some
terpenes
fruity
and
shit, right.
you know what I mean. I'm not interested in any other terpene shit. That's just my personal preference, right? That's
Ooh, but so now to bring it back to what we were talking about before, though, us, like this generation of like we, for the most part, fall into that category, right? And that goes back to how we were talking about those landrace strains, like the Acapulco Golds and all those stuff from like the times before, you know,
Yeah.
days are gone.
Yeah.
It was pure.
right.
Everything was
and now I'm
pure
like, I
back
want
then.
the pure
So that's why
rosin
we're
and
trying
not
to
like
hold
the
on to
fucking
that.
flavor. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
We're
real.
still
though.
trying to hold on to that, and now this new era is coming
I'm an
up
old
with the
head.
vapes, and they're coming
Right.
up on that. So they
That's-
just
I mean,
want more of that.
I hate to say it's also just like consumerism and corporatization of cannabis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as money and as more people.
But that's what I'm saying. Like
that's
my whole opinion on spray pack has fucking evolved
Right.
in such a weird way. Look, not Scotty. Scotty's like Scotty's
that was
like
quiet, man.
you
No,
gotta
I
fucking look at
No,
his
I
face
don't-
and
I
shit.
mean, I don't-
I don't got nothing to say.
As
I
I'm
don't.
saying it, like that shit is
We've
hilarious.
just went over it
bro.
so many times on here how I feel about it. So
I
it's
know,
like-
I know.
It's
Broken
like,
record.
I'm just
I knew
saying
you were
your
gonna talk
opinion
about it. I
can
knew it was gonna
change,
come up.
But each
based
time-
off of this conversation.
We're making it clearer each time, though. Like the whole realization of how we came. All of these conversations led to the whole thought of it's an extension of the youth being into vape so much and
Yeah.
them being into flavors, making
Making its
one
way
that we
into
like.
the flower.
I don't think we would have got to that because we didn't say that at first. But I don't think we would have got to that without all of these
Without all these conversations,
Right.
And this might be the first platform to explain it like that. But for me, I think it's the wording is going to evolve because like we call it spray packs now, but as it keeps evolving, it's going to be like added flavors or added like it's
Right.
going to be some type of marketing.
Flavor enhanced flower.
infused pre-roll, bro.
Terpene
You know what I mean?
infused,
Like,
terpene infused
yeah,
flower. I
it's
mean,
just different.
infused
There is a
pre-roll.
name for
It's
it.
just it's
and
it's happening.
I'm not completely against it. It's just like
I think it's
I
about.
don't know,
There's
man.
a
I think it's about if you're.
there's a bad look for it though. There's like a not
Right.
right way to do it, and
think it's
there's a
about if you're
way that it's
transparent.
being done that's not it. but there is a way to do it. I think is basically where my head is at now. Like I didn't used to think. When we first started talking about it, I was like, "Fuck spray pack ain't it." Da 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 da. But then I'm like, "But actually, that's
I mean,
just like kind of
I guess it is like fuck spray pack, but
right. But it's
because
not
that's just
like,
stupid. But like, there's so much deeper.
It's so much deeper. It's a huge. There's a huge market to it. It's done, when it's done well and done right, it's actually is.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and
it's just an infused pre-roll.
I hate to say, I think so much of the New York retail market right now is just like a mess. It's not even, maybe not terpene infused stuff, more just like stuff coming from out of state and like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know when track and trace comes online. I don't know
what's going to happen.
I don't know what some of these people are going to fucking do. I feel like could be completely wrong. It's like the state's system for
we got BioTrack is going to be our track and trace, and
so it's like seed to sale, like everything is tracked.
It's coming online. But I don't know. It's slow. It's a slow rollout. Like if these guys aren't fully on it yet, it's going to be a minute before we're fully on it.
Well, I mean, we're late we're slow to everything. I feel like so.
But
we're last minute for a lot of stuff. So maybe we are. I have no idea. I stay out of that. I stay out of that side of things now. It's so funny. Like now people ask me about shit on the farm, whatever, and I'm like, I don't know. Sorry, like I know some of these answers, like some of the nutrients and whatever. I'm like, I was on the farm like 3 times this year. They literally were like, you can't go to the farm. Like, go be the fucking salesman.
Nah, it's like if I go,
I'm like, bro, I still want to go work on the farm sometimes.
If I went to like be on the floor and like try to sell weed, like I'm not gonna be able to do that.
The one day he did it, I told the guy, I'm like, it's his first day.
I'm not gonna be able to do it. I'm not gonna be able to do that shit as effectively or as efficiently as any of the people in this room, really, right? So like, with the exception of Dills, because Dills doesn't sell weed at our stores, but everybody else in this room actually does, and they would all do a way better job at dealing with a customer than I would in terms of finding them exactly what they want. I still don't think any one of them could upsell me, but I do think that they would all be able to fucking get.
I saw her upsell.
She's looking at me like,
that transaction that remember I had to do the debit transaction for Julio, and they were still browsing, and you ended up talking about they wanted a gum flavored vape.
Oh yeah.
That could have just been a gummy sale if you didn't do what you did.
Yeah.
Props.
Yeah, Swarley got that.
So I'm saying anybody will buy a vape. Like literally anybody. These people will buy. Like it's so convenient and it's so like oh, I'll buy a vape. I can use that fucking anywhere and you don't even notice that it looks like a nicotine vape.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna have more people than ever buying those.
Yeah. I think we're on to the right thinking of like our opinions on spray packs, because if we were like this with our food, like if we just compare it to the same thing that happened to food, like
right, sure.
Like when I went to Egypt, the Pepsi was different. The Pepsi tasted different. The Skittles tasted different. They were not even allowed to use the sugars or the extra added flavors that we use in America.
Or even Canada shit's different.
Dyes or
the dyes for sure.
Different. So it's like.
There's like a moratorium on GMOs over in a lot of those places, like Europe and fucking Asia and Africa. Like you can't even have GMOs.
But should it be like that with our cannabis, so it doesn't turn into everything is artificially flavored?
I mean, I think so. For to an extent, for sure. You know what I mean? It's hard because it's like, but it's the same as like I guess I eat very clean. I don't really do red 40. Like I don't drink out of plastic. Like I'm pretty crazy about a lot of that type of shit. And I can like afford it, you know what I mean? Like you have to kind of work hard to be able to afford it, and I guess not everyone's like, yeah, sure, I'll get right on that while I'm like struggling to pay my bills and like, you know what I mean? So it's hard. Some people will just never be able to afford it, but they'll still like want to get high and whatever. So I get that, but I think it should be a priority for everyone to like work for, and you know what I mean, something to look forward to. The same as like I want to eat better and I want to fucking take care of myself and whatever. Like I want to smoke better weed. Like I want to, you know what I mean? I want to smoke cleaner weed. Like I want to learn whatever, whether it's learn about solving this shit or whether it's I don't know, you know, just I think it's something to like strive for. But it's and I always was kind of you know, I'll admit growing up I was there should still be the like quality over quantity. I'm not saying like go buy the cheapest weed just because you have no money and whatever, like, you know what I mean, maybe smoke less often and just smoke better weed. Like I still love kind of that whatever camp, like you should still just try to smoke the best weed possible. You know what I mean? But
don't
it's the
go
same
broke
thing that, like,
trying to smoke good.
right. But at the end of the day, like, some
That's
people
crazy.
just won't do that. Like, it's not.
Oh, I
it's
know.
no. It's like they have to do what I guess they want to do for their situation. Like, some people will just always drink the Budweiser. Some people will always there's nothing you can do. They'll drink the tap water. There's nothing that you're gonna say they're ingrained in. That's their life. Like, you know what I mean?
Do we think that this
Not to get
rise
deep. Not to
of
get deep.
spray packs is going to affect the demand for the craft flower?
I mean, not really, because yes and no. I mean, I think some people may get fooled by it and like fall into the spray packs, like looking for the craft and be like, oh, well, I can't afford it, so like I'll go to that. You know what I mean? I think they might get, but it's like it's the same crowd of people that wears fake fucking Gucci and fake, you know what I mean? Like buys the fake Gucci belt and buys the fake. It's like there will always kind of be the people looking to dupe the system and like fucking, you know what I mean?
Fuck that crowd
Take a
too,
shortcut.
though. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah, 100%. I agree. That's what, right. I'm not saying that they're good or that I agree with them. I'm just saying that they're fucking out there.
And they're customers. They're gonna come in the store and buy something and buy bud.
That's kind of what I mean.
They're
Like
people that.
So that's what I mean. That's if you enter this industry, like you have to accept the balance of like doing the right thing for weed and like doing the right thing for your business. Like doing, you know what I mean? It's hard. It's a hard line to walk. It's something I've had to really come to terms with, and you know what I mean. It's a lot, definitely.
Yeah. So what I'm worried about is people getting so used to the added flavor that say they smoke like a
That's gonna fuck me up.
strawberry cough and it's spray, and it tastes like strawberries or something.
Right.
And then they smoke some real strawberry cough that was grown right, and then, it tastes proper. And it's like, this doesn't taste like strawberries. This is better. And it's like, and then that's when the culture gets fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't want that. I just don't want the majority of the industry to get a taste for that,
That was pretty much the question.
And I don't mean more of the natural cannabis terpenes, but it's just like, it's more the sweet flavors and like stuff like that. Like, I don't want to keep saying the brand's name, but who I'm, I don't, them guys.
Yeah.
I don't want that to become everybody's taste, thinking this is how we taste, and it's like, nah, this isn't how.
The industry to start thinking that that's everyone's taste, and then start mass producing that instead of putting the resource or the attention on the real craft flower, the premium flower. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of the same thing as like talking about which big company decides to take over as an MSO or whatever. It's kind of like everyone should still be doing the right thing no matter where they are in the pipeline. Like no matter how big you are, you can still do the right thing with cannabis. It doesn't cost that much money. Right. Like it's at the end of the day, like farming can be a little, setting up is super expensive, but farming can be a lot cheaper than people think it is in the long run. You know what I mean?
Now, do you know if they plan on opening a window for micro licenses again?
No, I don't really. Honestly, I haven't stayed up on that side of things in a while. I'll be honest.
I didn't know if you heard anything about that.
No.
Or windows opening back up.
I thought when did it close? I thought they were open somewhat recently.
It's been closed all 24 pretty much. They didn't, because there was just so many applications. I'm pretty sure it's been closed all 2024.
Yes, yeah.
Like they just spent all this year for just reviewing apps from 23.
I was gonna say I'm starting to see the stores pop up now. Yeah. For sure, we're talking to one of them right now. We might like try to work a deal to get Revert in there just because he doesn't have a lot of flour. Yeah. But I mean, I think the micros are gonna be the ones that like change this space the most.
Yeah.
For sure. Like when we're talking about the craft versus like big cannabis, I mean, it's kind of like checks and balances. I think there will always be, like I said, the big guys. They should do it right. I think if they don't do it right, I think they can kind of take it. It will be almost kind of like it'll take a lot of them to take the big one down. But say this micro is taking 5 to 10 stores. I mean, they're growing enough flour for the 10 stores around them, and then this one's growing enough flour for the 10 stores around them, and then this one's. So they're slowly kind of chipping away at this brand's empire until, you know what I mean? So if the micro businesses can do the right thing, because they can have lower overhead. They can run their business as the mom and pop just doing their thing. They can have fucking 3 employees and run whether it be an outdoor farm or one greenhouse is easy for 3-4 people to run if they fucking bust their ass. I shouldn't say easy, but possible. So like I think that's what can disrupt the space the most and really kind of keep the big guys on their toes. You know what I mean? About what because they can, all right, well then fucking I'll drop my price and here you go, bam. Like they still have to make their bottom dollar, but they're a lot less concerned about their like bottom dollar than a fucking EXA, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big old RO, whatever you want to call them. So I think they will always be like a danger to the bigger guys, you know what I mean? I shouldn't say danger to like that, but they can still fight on their own because they just have lower overhead. They can do their thing on a small scale.
Yeah.
What percentage of the micros do you think are actually going to do their own retail?
Retail, I think maybe 50-60%. I think a lot of them will opt in, but problem is like, and it's the same as like with the injunction that with like the, having an address attached to it and all the like little, fucking whole hoops they make you jump through for, they were supposed to have an address attached to the retail right before
they were when the last injunction happened, they were only giving licenses to people who had addresses attached to the retail.
And so did that include microbusiness licenses? Because I know that was kind of the same stipulation for microbusiness, was that if you opted in for retail, you had to already have the location like established where you were going to put it.
It probably
to get your
did.
license approved.
Yeah.
And like we had a couple friends who were trying to get microbusiness licenses, and that was kind of what ended up happening to them. Is like you just have to,
if you didn't have the location.
Yeah, you already have to have the location, and then that gets into the like, are you going to start paying for the fucking lease or the rent for months or a year before, and hope you get the license approved? You know what I mean? So I think a lot of them were probably scared of that. You know what I mean? And a lot of them were also just craft growers who just want to fucking grow and just do their thing, or just want to press rosin, and like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of them just want to do their thing on their scale and be able to do it legally.
Yeah, what you just said was the reason I didn't apply first go around, was the location thing, like having to have the address, like, you know what I mean?
Right,
like
for sure.
And I didn't have that, and that's a big commitment to like, to while you're waiting, be paying rent on a spot, and like it's it's a lot,
Yeah,
so
it's tough because I understand both sides of it, because you're right, because it is like a lot to dive into. You know what I mean? But it's the same as a lot of any other business. I mean, the licensing should be obviously a lot faster, and they're like making people fucking wait. But at the end of the day, like you kind of, I think it's a fair point to say you should at least have, not like have the address and pay the lease, whatever. But maybe there's some middle ground. But I don't think it's the worst thing to say that like people that just like are applying for a license with no idea where they're going to put it yet. Like, I'm not saying all of them aren't good applicants, but like, that's definitely a pretty wide net to like cast. And
I'd say
you know what I mean?
What they're trying to do though, as far as we're gonna do this many licenses,
right?
We're gonna approve so many fucking licenses. We're gonna open so many more stores and have so many 1,000 stores. Like how you get to 1,000 stores is just by giving micro licenses to motherfuckers that are going to try to do it. And then they gave out the licenses that they said they were gonna. And if 50% of those licenses actually come to fruition to get to be an open store,
I mean, they can always sell the license, and some other business person, whatever, can come in. And
it'll turn into a store at some point, or a grow op.
But I mean, we were talking about this earlier, and I said like there can be 200-300 micro business stores. And I think they can just kind of do their thing and kind of exist, whatever, on their own. But if say it's 700 normal stores plus a bunch of just micro business, that's pretty crazy. I think the normal stores are always going to sweat each other out more than the micro business stores, because like you kind of have the same like pool of products to pick from at the end of the day, compared to like they could be growing and doing their own shit and whatever. So people might go to both, but like, they might not go to like you and another local dispensary. You know what I'm saying?
If you're a good micro and you're like growing super bomb and you're the only fucking people that have it,
right?
And you're a store and you're the only people that have the dope fucking fire shit that you're growing,
right?
Then and you're very good at what you do,
You're just gonna get a different
you're
customer
gonna
base,
have
I think.
right. You're gonna have a different customer base, but you also have much better margins, and like be the only people that have those margins.
Well, that's what I mean, right? They might be doing it on a smaller scale, but like their margins are good enough, and they're making their good
crazy
money. Yeah,
margins.
they're making their money, and
Because they're growing, and,
Right,
and
100%.
so they don't have to, and then I wonder, they must have to pay the whole, whatever, 22% then, right?
the tax.
Yeah, because you guys have to pay like a 9% tax
Yeah.
when you sell to us.
Right, because I'll say, as far
And
as I'm
then
concerned,
we
it's
have
up
to,
to
then we have to pay a 13% tax once we sell to the consumer.
I see what
So
you're
that's a
saying. So
full
where does that
22%. So what's going on with the micro business? They must have to pay that full 22%.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I
imagine.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I mean, right? They can't charge the customer that.
Right.
So yeah. Interesting.
how's
Now,
that
are
work?
micros going to be allowed to sell other brands?
Well, yeah, kind of. Well, that's like kind of what we were. I was gonna say I think it might be a process, or what you're saying might be a thing about like transferring inventory or transferring sales
From your grow
Exactly,
operation
to your
internally
retail.
to your retail.
Exactly. I think that's how that.
And
would
when
work,
they
you know
do
what I
that,
mean?
they pay the 9%, and then when they do that, they pay the 13%.
Right.
Yeah. It's like a process to it. It's
Yeah, but so
fucking wild.
I don't fully. I need to get more into this side of things. I don't fully understand. Like, know all of the. There's like you can do a certain amount of pounds of outdoor processing of outdoor product material, I should say, and then you can do. It's like you have to white label or you have to rebrand it yourself or
I
something
had
like
a
that in
feeling
micro
that's
stores.
what I gathered from
So
it.
that's what we're trying to figure out with this guy right now is like the regulations around it and how we can. It might be like powered by Revert Cannabis or grown by Revert or like
Yeah,
or something.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know how it would work. But it's really it's interesting. It's cool. I mean, it like again, it's kind of it's almost that's where it gets a little dangerous for sure, is them having the same brands as the other one. But like again, I think there's like an actual volume limit on how much they can do with any outside product. It might be 500 pounds of product they can bring in even to sell in their dispensary in total.
I think it's more than that. even.
So I forget. I don't know. There was
Might be- it might
there was a
be, I don't
500 pound number somewhere. I don't. Beyond that, I don't fully know the micro
no,
business
that could be
license
that
like
could be the 500.
But yeah, it's definitely an interesting field. But I think it just depends on. I think it's also. I mean, we're talking about them just force opening stores. I think it's more on the side of. I feel bad for a lot of the card licenses that just get like the high interest DASNY loans and just they're gonna run into this problem down the road when the stores are maybe not doing as like good as they fucking preached that they were gonna do, and then
That was what the
someone
New
will
York
swoop
Times
in
story.
and buy
That,
the licenses.
that was what the New York
talking
Times
about.
story that I was
Okay.
saying. That's what that was about. It was specifically about DASNY stores that were not doing well and not able to like meet their obligations, and whose sales peaked already and dropped off and leveled off at like a quarter of the volume type shit.
Well, right. I mean, and that's just fair. It's just fair market share, like market dilution, like it's just market share. Like as more stores open in the area, like when they first got the loan, they're the only store, but they might have only had a month or 6 months or whatever of being the only store in that radius. And then once other stores open up, it's like, well, this one's on my way home from work. Well, this one,
Right,
like,
no, it's definitely
just-
a convenience
It's gonna
thing.
happen.
You gotta,
like, you know what I
you're
mean?
sharing the market.
Yeah,
There's a market
right.
share that's happening for sure.
So I think people just don't prepare for it, whatever, and they just dump all this money into it and think it's
Well, the
all gold
DASNY
and
shit.
sunshine and-
But the DASNY shit was like, that's what that was. Just putting not even not helping to manage the spend in any.
right. Well,
real
then they
way.
get then they get all the licensing fees from everybody, and they get all of the fucking whatever
It's a loan.
the tax money, all this shit. Like it's just
a loan that they're
Right.
getting interest on,
Oh, yeah,
and it's
right.
like getting high interest rates on, and they
Exactly,
get
yeah.
so there's like double. It's predatory and it sucks.
Yeah, so-
yeah.
So I think there will be some retail stores that start failing not pretty soon, but like eventually. Yeah, I mean, there was already a couple that have,
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know about that, but I think it's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah,
Stores
yeah.
start failing or having to sell and go to different names. Someone's already changed their name or is under a different umbrella now or something. You're gonna start to see that a lot.
Yeah.
I think, of like stores just kind of having to sell their license or move or whatever, or get bought out, or you know what I mean. Like I said, they think they can. It's a lot of them are good at it, whatever. But I feel bad sometimes. It's like, again, like we say, you have to understand that this is retail more than it is like cannabis, and some of these guys come in like not ready for the big business that's gonna come in and drop fucking millions of dollars to like get the space. Like they're like, they'll rent. Like there was someone I know. I had a meeting with them before they opened their store. It was like one of their first meetings. We were kind of personal friends with them, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I was supposed to be in this location in that town that other store is now open in, but they had a lease on it for 2 years before it opened. Basically, like when it went fucking legal, they like just found a spot and like signed a lease on it and just waited. You know what I mean? Like people are willing to spend crazy fucking money to come into the space and just feel like, and you know, it is true. I'll say it, whatever. New York is an amazing market. It's going to be unlike anything else. And they see that everyone's trying to kind of come in and get their foothold. But like, they're willing to spend a lot of money, and they have experience in either retail in other states and cannabis, or just, I'm talking to a lot of like beer guys right now, and like people from other like gas station guys, like, we're talking to people from other industries that are coming into cannabis right now. Those are the ones that are the most dangerous to like
the Strain Stars.
To the social
Strain Stars
equities
guys are fucking gas station guys, right? Strain Stars.
Something along
and
those
they're
lines.
fucking
They're
convenience store guys.
They're
like convenience store guys. They're fucking right. They're like and they're still doing those numbers, right?
Yeah,
100%. There's a few more that have opened up around them in Long Island, but they're still doing.
Yeah, well, yeah, them and Happy Days are apparently like the two. No matter what the fucking different numbers I see are, like them and Happy Days are like the top two in Farmingdale, because so much of Long Island is opted out and they're all just rich and whatever.
Yeah.
But they also have a store in Riverhead now, doing really good. They're now opening one in White Plains. So like, yeah, they're crushing it. Shout out Strain Stars for sure. They're crushing it for sure.
Strain Stars opening one in White Plains.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're going hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, but there's gonna be more players like that are willing to, you know what I mean? Like we're meeting a lot more. Like I said, we're meeting a lot more chains of stores.
Yeah.
And like, 5, 6, 7, 8 stores. These guys said they want to have 15 stores by the end of the year. Like it's happening. It's going to happen quick. And can you compete with that?
How many people have to be involved for you to be able to have 15 stores? Because you're really only allowed to have 3 stores under your license. So you got to have 5 licenses.
It's like one of those kind of like weird quasi umbrellas where I'm sure.
It's like 5 separate licenses, but they're all involved.
Right. It's all family and whatever the fuck. I wonder if that'll ever, so. We were talking about this, like, whatever it was, Fair Practices Bureau or whatever they opened. Like, I'm sure that's the type of stuff that I would wonder if that falls into that,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely interesting to see. But, like, that's what I mean. People are willing to kind of bend those regulations and just spend fucking tons of money. And you got to be willing to compete with that and keep up, And it's just not going to be easy. Like, it's certainly not going to be easy. But, yeah.
Segs, let's do it. Let's rock it. What you bringing tonight, Scotty? What you bringing tonight? Scotty's Kicks.
Oh, damn it.
Oh shit.
Thanks, Ricky.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Classics.
Yes, definitely some classics.
Nice.
These are from originally 1991 infrared 6s, but this is the 2014 version. A lot of people bitched about them when they came out because they got the pinkish tint. Well, everybody had it in their head that they were Chicago Bulls red because of a previous edition that came out. They were the varsity red 6s. A lot of people had the Chicago Bulls colorway, but this is more like the original than that pair was. So a lot of people didn't realize the originals were that like pinkish red color, the infrared. But yeah, classics for sure.
Oh shit.
They came out again too with the Nike Air on them. I never got them though. We'll get them eventually. Never that urgent though,
I have a question, y'all.
Drop
You
it.
brought up a word. And we talked about it a little earlier, but classic, right? What constitutes a classic? And can you yourself choose something as a classic? Okay, like if it's a classic, like, so let's say
your album being a classic.
let's say there's a movie, right? Me and Ricky, we watched this movie together, and we fell in love with this movie, and it was like a defining moment of our friendship. And then forever, for the rest of our lives, we go back and we quote that movie, and we fucking have merch for it, and we like do everything around it, right? But it's not a classic to what everybody says. That's a classic to me and Ricky. But does that not count? Is it subjective, or is it, does
Well, there's
everybody
personal
have
classics
to agree?
and then there's real
Does
classics.
everybody have to agree
Actual
on
classics.
it being a classic for it to be a classic?
I mean,
Not
I
everybody.
would say that's like it's like person to person. Yeah, there's
that's what I
like,
was gonna say. It's
yeah,
like- it's
like
so
it's a
Subjective,
classic.
right? Like it's
like
It's
figurative,
super,
yeah.
super objective. It's like if it's a classic to you, it's a fucking classic. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Like if it now, I don't know.
Well, that's
if
what I'm
it-
saying. There's a difference between
But-
my personal classics
And like a cultural
and
classic,
the classics.
Right.
a
You know what I'm
cult
saying?
classic.
Right.
You know.
right.
But no, you can't call your own shit a classic.
Right.
And,
Obviously,
And,
I know
and you
that.
can't.
and it takes more than like a fucking
and
year.
if
And
everyone
it takes a
does
long
it,
But that's
time
my
to be a
opinion.
It takes a long time to be a classic. Really.
Yeah.
No, for sure, definitely.
Time, classic equals time, I think. I think time is the most important thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's a movie that, say, me and you love from 1998. But if we watch it today and we like, this is the most cringy shit ever, like, this shit is
Or
not
do you
good,
still,
type
or
of
do you
thing.
watch
Right.
it and you're like, yo, this shit's
That's-
fire.
Or this shit
Right.
hell's
That's
fucked up. This
right.
shit is
That's
amazing.
right.
Right.
It's a classic.
That's
what I mean.
that's a
Yeah,
real
right.
classic.
That's
For
how-
sure.
That's how you
That's
can
what I was
tell,
gonna say.
like,
Yeah, totally.
I think it's definitely time. You know, we use the word
Time.
when somebody drop an album.
Yeah, you can't just turn around and call it.
You
Yeah,
gotta
for
give
sure.
it time.
Yeah,
you gotta
You
give
can
it
just say it's
time.
a
And I do
great
agree.
album or a great whatever.
I do agree that you can't call your own shit a classic. Because to me, certain shit is it's that same argument. It's like some shit to me is like you can't tell me Meditate is not a classic.
Right.
That shit got me through so much fucking shit in my motherfucking life. Like I don't give a
Right.
fuck what. And
For you,
That shit a
Right.
classic to me too.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a classic for me too. So there
See,
you
so-
go.
so there you go.
But it's a classic.
That's at least a
classic
cult
classic.
classic,
I
right?
guess
there.
it's just a classic.
Just being honest.
So, yeah, no, I mean, so speaking of classic, it's funny you say that.
Love that song.
You know, like we were talking about different strategies in the industry, whatever. Like, what do you guys like enjoy these classic strains that you see, the Jack Herreras and the Sour Diesels and the what do you think of these? And when we talk about like genetics, that I hate to say genetics that don't exist anymore, like what do you guys think of these strains? Do you guys think that they're, you know, I don't want to say do you think, like for sure there's some sort of rename, you know, they're trying to come up with a genetic that's close to it or something like that, you know what I mean? So what do you guys think of seeing some of those names on the bags? And, you know, maybe there's a small, like, you know, we were saying, like, I think you said Back Home does, I forget what it was, we were talking about a strain the Back Home cannabis does, I'm sure is legit. Oh, I think it was Acapulco Gold, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's probably legit. But I think
don't
there's
know.
a lot of,
Maybe.
I think there's a lot of, like,
Sorry.
yeah, I think it's kind of
The
like,
ends
Talking
on the
about
string,
sour a
too.
lot.
yeah, I just think
They're
it's kind of,
trying
it just,
to-
I mean,
it
I
exists.
saw
Trying
the
to find
I
the
saw
piff,
Flower
too,
House had the AJ
you know?
Sour. I mean, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
believable. That's different. You know what I
It
mean?
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I went and
yeah,
saw
that's
him
somewhat of a
at the
modern
Green
fucking
It wasn't
shit, but, like,
executed properly.
It was,
Yeah,
and he'll tell you too. He did. He was like, you know, it wasn't his favorite cut or whatever. I mean, it was his cut, but it wasn't his
Didn't come
favorite.
out.
Didn't come out.
Yeah.
But you know, and then
I mean, it's different growers. at the
I
end of
honestly
the
get
day,
more
too, it's
excited
tough.
about new strains. If I see a new strain that's like a cross of some things that I like,
See, and
I'll
that's
be like,
why,
okay,
that's why the strains don't exist anymore.
Well, but that's also a product of the fact that those strains don't exist anymore. And when I try those strains that I know and that I'm used to, and then I smoke it, and I'm like, this ain't it. So then now when I see those names, I don't believe it. 9
Yeah.
times out of 10.
And
I just
yeah.
don't believe it until somebody that has an opinion that I trust gives
Preach.
it the stamp of approval. And then I'll be like, all right. But until then, I just don't trust it.
We
Yeah.
smoked some real sour a couple times in the last year.
yeah.
Nice.
And we hadn't smoked it in
yeah.
quite some fucking
I
time.
haven't had
Yeah.
real, other than like AJ, I haven't had real sour in a long time. You know, like that was one of the things, like, you know, we were saying, like Beasters, I never really fucking had, saw once or twice. I had sour maybe once or twice. I saw original sour, I think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was sour is a big
shit like
part
that.
of
You
my
know what I
life.
mean? I was more like haze. You know what I mean? But like, I smoked this I found this mango A5. This dude was growing like organic living soil, like small batch shit, like a year ago or whatever. This like mango A5 haze, and you just like you'd smoke it, and you it was like I actually would want to go for a run on this shit. Like if I was a runner, this was like the perfect strain. Like it was like a different energy. Like it was actually like fucking Adderall. Or like
I was gonna say you're smoking Adderall.
And it was like long lasting. It lasted like 2-3 hours. I was still like hyper and like it was just like a different high. You know what I mean? It was something I hadn't had in years. You know what I mean? I grew up on kind of like the hazes too. Was still kind of around, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ton of fucking super silver, super lemon. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, it's just like crazy.
Where
It's just crazy to
where'd
see
you
that.
grow up?
Boston Spa.
Boston Spa?
Yeah, right near Saratoga.
Where
Yeah,
where
for
are you
sure.
getting fucking hazes at and shit?
Dude,
back
I-
in Boston Spa.
I mean, you
Fucking-
know,
They
it was
could
still like,
piff out
it was
there.
it was still around, like,
Yeah.
it was still like, you know, whatever, coming out of Albany, Tri-City, whatever, Tri-State,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. But no, yeah, I've definitely, like I said, I've been around, I know a lot of people and shit, for sure.
Yeah, the
Well, do you
hazes.
notice you said the super lemons and the super silvers? That was kind
That
of
was
a
an
different
era.
haze
That's
scene
that's
than
what I
the
mean. That was
haze
a little
scene
later.
we're talking
sure.
about.
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
yeah,
That's
for
what, like,
sure.
it
That's
was,
a different
it was,
haze
It's a
scene
different
completely.
haze scene.
That's
Yeah,
that
it is.
cross era of
Right.
like crossing things with the haze and
Right.
like, getting
Yeah.
different types
That
of
was right
products
before
and
you
stuff.
started to see like the platinum.
right,
All
100%.
that started to pop out.
Right.
One of the best sours I ever smoked was that sour lime. That might
What the one that
the
we
one
grew?
that one was crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
we got this
I love
cross.
that.
AJ bred it. It's called Brain Force Plus, and it's lime crumble. Triple cross with sour,
Okay.
and it's so fucking good, man. It's just got
Nice.
these lime.
No shit.
Like some hits taste like
Sour
lime
lime,
slushy,
that's
some
crazy.
taste like classic sour.
That's
It's
fire.
like Merck's tried it too.
Yeah, it's
That's cool.
delicious.
It's so
Really good.
fucking interesting.
That's
Like,
cool,
Yeah,
yeah.
he knocked that out the park for real.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still even something to be said about trying to find some of these and mixing them with some new age shit. You know what I mean? But I think it's still just kind of like, so I mean, you know, you can call it something. Come up with a name that's like a knockoff of it. You know what I mean? Like fucking.
I almost
something
like when they come up with a name that has nothing to do with any of it, and just call it something
Like
brand
Brain
new.
Force
Well,
Plus.
that too, right? You can just call it. Right, yeah. It could be like Jack Herrera's son or like some. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like something fucking. I don't know. Try to relate it, but not be the same name. I just think it's a little lazy to just. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, it's because of the.
Yup. Our diesel.
Our diesel.
Yeah, well, and I've also
So-
I've also heard that it's because of the relationship between the two original growers that, and that's why like the two
Made
different
'em go
cuts, the two
sour.
different
Yeah.
cuts happened
I
was
think
that
they
the
did.
relationship like soured, and they were. That's what I don't know if that, I think. You know,
No, I actually brought that up on the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Because I said that, like, isn't that why they call it sour? And he's like, nah.
That's funny.
I was like, damn, I heard that.
It could be a fucking
I'm
myth,
so
you know what
sure
I mean?
about
But,
that, like-
Yeah.
He's like, oh, thank God, I heard it. Somebody else heard it.
No,
funny,
I
yeah.
heard the exact
That's
same
funny.
shit.
You
Heard
know?
the same thing.
And then we asked AJ, isn't that what it was? And he was like, nah, it was
really?
this.
AJ needs to.
Yeah, and
AJ
he's
needs
like,
to
there
come
was
back.
a bucket.
Word.
He's like, there was a bucket that it was
Let's
like
do another
the
quarter
fifth
million,
cut,
you know?
and it was their diesel, but they wrote our diesel on it because they were calling it diesel at the time. They weren't.
Right.
So it was because it was a chem dog, and he didn't like the word chem in it.
Yeah, people
So
didn't want
he
to smoke chemicals.
so he called it diesel.
Right.
And on the bucket it said our diesel, but it was the fifth bucket. And then so it looked like it said sour diesel because the 5 was before the hour.
Okay.
And somebody was like, sour diesel? And he was like, yup.
Dude, it's crazy.
That was
Even,
I guess so.
even
That-
having AJ
that's so
on the
funny.
pod, there's still no fucking clarity about the sour thing.
All right, well, I didn't see
there's
that,
just
so
so many
that's- no, that's-
arguments
yeah.
in the comment section, and
That's
people
crazy.
like,
That's
nah,
crazy.
such and
That's
such
crazy.
knows the real story. You know what I mean?
Now I feel
Everybody's
stupid
just
as
like,
fuck. I don't know what to
It's
Yeah.
fucking
No,
crazy.
that was
That's the
just-
lore behind
That's
it.
funny.
I didn't know that
No,
shit,
we
bro.
didn't
That's
learn
yeah.
nothing. Like, we learned a lot from him, but at the same time, it's just like it just added more speculation.
We
Like,
kind of learned that
motherfuckers,
there's
like,
gonna be more stories coming, like, because he even
Right.
said, like, there's other, like, little
We got-
clips of, like,
Well,
people
yeah, I
who
mean,
are
like they
doing-
talk, you know, like fucking, what is it, like Dr. Dankenstein or whatever? All
Yeah,
the dudes
yeah,
From like shout out to all those dudes and like that's
I'm trying to
New
get
York
him into
podcasts
stage
and
one,
shit.
man, big time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like New York's Dankster. Yeah, I tried like what was I forget what the strain was called, but I tried it. It was fire. But yeah, you know, I'm sorry. What was it that? I just blanked. What was it?
Yeah.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at.
The different stories about where it came from.
Just the lore, how it's.
The lore of the sour. Is that where we were at? Yeah.
I think we progressed just a little past that.
I forgot.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at. That's what it was. So you said perspectives, and that literally brought it back. That's so funny because we were talking about the Dankster. They were talking about like the Syracuse
Yeah, and then I
cut
started
versus
thinking
the
about his
Albany
new
cut.
drop because
Yeah,
I've been trying to do
right,
it
I
all
know.
well to get it.
Dude,
I mean,
honestly,
all
I just
Will's
started
ass,
reminiscing back. I was like, damn, that was really good. Like, it just started making me think about that.
That made me think of
they were talking about like the Syracuse cut versus the Albany cut versus like the New York cut. Like, you know what I mean? All these different cuts of the sour.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like how it all kind of split up and became different things.
And they all got a different story. Where every one of the fucking cuts came from, they all
That's
dispute.
what I mean, right?
Yeah, they all
Yeah,
dispute everything.
Exactly.
We got to get some more of the sour people on the pod. Like
We do,
some
we
other
do.
perspectives, man.
No,
Like,
you know, I mean, the
I love
hazes
that
too. The
idea.
hazes are like doing good right now. You know,
Oh,
you
yeah,
see a lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
fire haze. You know what I mean?
you know,
like Piff Coast, and
Black
all the
Rabbit
dudes, you know,
Farms.
Yeah, Black Rabbit
is
for
doing
sure.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw
100%
Piff
haze,
Coast.
man.
Piff Coast has seeds and shit. He's
Yeah, I
like-
think he's got a micro
Have
now
you-
or something because I don't
Yeah.
know. He's
Yeah,
related
no,
to
he's
one
about
'cause
to.
he's-
I was gonna say we'll say it on the pod. I want to get those in the store. The Piff Coast Farm seeds.
Yeah.
I think that's a good look.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so too. I didn't. So I gotta
That's cool.
figure out the regs on the seeds though. I haven't looked
I
into
think it's
them
pretty
in a
much
minute.
just
I
sell
think
the
it's we
motherfuckers.
Sell the motherfuckers, right?
That's
I
what
thought
I'm
I
gathering.
thought you could.
You
I'm
can
not sure.
now, right? Yeah. All right.
Because there ain't much regs on them even on the federal level.
Right.
Like literally,
Right.
like
Right.
there isn't. There's like no regs on them on the federal level right now either.
Stores they have 'em.
You technically about right. Hydroponic.
Shit
stores and
changed
shit.
recently with that too, by the
Right,
way.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
with the federal shit, like
I mean,
and it wasn't because of rescheduling or anything. It was because these don't contain THC.
They still
You know what
haven't
I'm saying? So
They
it's
still
like
haven't
it
fucking
falls under the
rescheduled,
it
though.
falls
That
under the
shit's
hemp
so whack.
all the
yeah.
hemp laws and shit. You know what I mean? It's why you can ship CBD and hemp and shit. It's like
Well, so that's
same
why, you
fucking
know,
thing.
that was another piece of all the licensing I never understood was like where nurseries were going to come into play. You know what I mean? They talked about like there's licensed nurseries.
Yeah.
And so I get like, are they expecting brands like, or licensed cultivators to be buying all of it from licensed nurseries or like, you know what I mean? That's just such an interesting
like
piece of.
having to have their own nurseries. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know. No, it's like or I don't know if you're
Where-
supposed to buy genetics from, or like I don't know, but there's supposed to be licensed nurseries that they were like wanted to be a piece of it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how you could
But they haven't done
tell
that.
people. Yeah, I don't know how you could tell anybody that they have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're gonna bring their own genetics in.
Right.
That's the point.
That's the
especially
point,
that's the point
right.
of half of these, like, especially the micro guys, of like
Definitely.
going and fucking being a
Getting
breeder
their
and
own
having their own
genetics,
strains. I'm like,
right.
why? What the fuck? Why would they?
Not like going
So I
and
just-
finding your genetics in this like small pool of,
Yeah, so I didn't
of
really
breeder
understand that.
licenses.
I didn't know. I don't know, but I just know there's licensed nurseries, and I mean that's cool. I know one of the guys is gonna have one. It's a really cool concept. If it's just for people to like be able to buy,
But that's
like clones
so
and
that's
shit like
like
that. You know
yeah,
what I
but
mean?
that's what like
But-
one of the 5,000 licenses. That's like there's that they want to open up 5,000 licenses total. That like includes
Okay.
like
I
all
guess
of these
it
side
must.
licenses. So
It
like
must.
these nursery licenses, these fucking
yeah.
these distributor licenses. We
The
just had like
distribution licenses.
a distributor come in today,
Okay.
and they're like, we got these pre rolls, and they're fucking.
So they're selling the products that they like distribute to.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, fair for them. That's good. Yeah, but
Weird, right?
yeah, I mean, it's like that's
but
another
what's
thing that
happening
like
now,
I get
right?
fucking ads on Instagram for some like dude who has it. It's like, oh, we're doing distribution for New Jersey cannabis products and this warehouse and da da da. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like close, like you're almost there.
Almost. You almost got the target.
But it was just like very, I don't know, that's right. Like there's going to be people in every inch of the space. And you know what I mean? Like now I get approached by people for packaging and these data services and all this, you know what I mean? I get random emails and phone
I
calls
get
and I meet
fucking
people, I
packaging.
get almost scared of these
Can't
industry
imagine
events.
how much packaging
Oh my
fucking
God.
you get inundated with. I get fucking vape like buy our vape carts. Like,
our
motherfucker,
DM.
I can't
Yeah,
fill
right,
vape carts.
right.
I'm a dispensary.
Our
Stop
DMs
fucking.
are fucking
know.
I know, it's
Wrong,
crazy.
wrong fucking inbox.
When we first
Right.
opened,
You
we
don't
had
understand how
some
this works
crazy
at all.
proposals.
Like, stop
And then we
calling
got-
my phone and leaving me voicemails.
Right.
Are you kidding me? Like, I don't want your fucking, you know what I mean? I can't fill vape carts, dude.
Like you just weighing up zips in here, making carts and fuck we doing.
Nah, but I guess
it's
it's like that in other markets, though. You
Not
can
like
be,
that.
You can be vertically integrated,
oh yeah.
you know, and then it makes sense. But
Some of them require it, right?
yeah,
I mean, that's
some
also
of them require it. I wonder, do they?
I know. Well, it was the medical market actually.
Yeah.
it was-
You have
they-
to definitely be vertically
Massachusetts
integrated.
when they in New York when they
New
opened
York,
too,
too,
they
yeah,
required you
yeah.
to be seed to sale.
Yeah.
okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. You had to be
That
seed
makes
to
sense.
sale.
Yeah. I mean, the medical market will always do great. And I think it's kind of also like a good like sign of when like what states are kind of ready for it, and you know what I mean.
New York's hasn't done so hot
like-
though, has it?
No,
not
so
really, but
after
that's-
we went recreational, they went from like thousands of licensed, of like marijuana licenses to like hundreds in the whole fucking state. So not a lot of people stayed in the medical program.
That's
and
what I mean.
renewed
I
their
hate to say.
licenses.
I hate to say a lot of them are just there, just to get the product, and you know what I mean. But like I think there's definitely some other states that are ready for it that are going to be really fun down the road whenever they do go legal. Florida, you know what I mean. Like I got all my family's from Florida. Like I spent my whole childhood going down there and shit. My dad grew up in Miami before he moved up here and met my mom and shit. So like I watch Florida. That shit is going to do really good. It's the best tourist state in the country.
Yeah,
got a good medical
I think
program
Florida's-
already, though.
Yeah, their medical. Yeah, and exactly. They have the medical program already, but the state government's kind of
They got
whatever.
they got a
Clearly
they got
kind
a
of a
mold
joke right
problem
now.
down there. I heard.
It's a little unpredictable,
Yeah,
you know,
they
a
got some
little
shit
erratic.
going. They got some shit going on.
Little
So
erratic.
Florida eventually, but I think Texas is going to be a really cool market. Whenever
Yeah.
that goes on. There's a ton of fucking stoners in Texas.
You think that's even on the horizon though?
I mean, it might. It's a further horizon for sure. Yeah, but like I said, there is culture behind it already out there. Like I know dudes.
Austin
from
is the
like,
capital
it's-
of Texas and shit, and Austin is like super
Well, yeah.
fucking liberal.
Austin
so-
is weird. Yeah, they're going
so-
crazy right now too.
And then you have other like liberal spots, at least in that. Like
I know
there's
liberal as
Austin,
far
I
as
know
further
weed
down
is
the road,
concerned.
certainly further, further.
There's other
push down
cities
the
like
road,
Austin, though?
100%. I mean, yeah, maybe not as much like Austin. I think, like I said,
No.
probably a further down the road thing. But I think it's, and like, and this is something we can even talk about. Like, you guys are talking about descheduling or rescheduling or anything like that. You know what I mean? I remember there was this, like, I feel like there was this little panic period of like a couple weeks or a month, like when they said that they were going to reschedule to maybe to Schedule 3. And like
Yeah.
everybody in the state legal industry kind of got scared that was going to affect us somehow, or like. you
I
know what
wasn't
mean?
scared it was going to
Like,
affect us.
there
I was like
hearing
psyched, like
from-
this is going
Well,
to,
right, it
I'm
was-
going to
well, it
save
was
man
two- it was
bread
the
on
two
my fucking
extremes.
taxes.
That too, it was the two extremes. But I mean, the thing that was interesting about it, technically, Schedule 3 has to be prescribed by a physician. So like, they could technically say that like, oh well, what you're doing at a state level like is not like it has to be approved by a physician. You can't have dispensaries now. Was like what I was hearing from people. Who
Yeah, but that's like that's
which I thought was
still
really interesting. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
but that's still like from like it's dope to now it's like medicine. So
Right. Well, and the
from
other-
but the state law is the state law. That's just
Sure.
the federal law.
True.
Right now, the federal law has this shit like dope.
Right.
So you're saying like now the federal law is saying it's like medicine, and now all of a sudden the state's gonna be like, whoops, you need a prescription for this shit now. Like,
Right. Well, that's
not
right.
what's gonna
So, I
happen.
mean,
it's
the
just
other-
it's just gonna save us mad fucking money in taxes.
That's true.
All of us,
Right.
not just fucking retail. Like every single
Yeah.
person involved is going to be able to run their business like a business.
Right.
Not like we're fucking criminals in the
Sure.
eyes of the federal government that have to pay, pay our taxes first, then pay
Right.
for all of our expenses.
Yeah. What is it? What is it? 280 E.
280E, yeah.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. Get it out of here.
Um,
Fucking.
Yeah,
let's go.
I don't agree. Yeah, well, the other thing that I thought was interesting of it was they said like, like if it becomes a medicine that like the government doesn't view smoking as medicine, and so they could always try to like strike down like smokable. You know what I mean?
But
so it's
but
just
that's
all these things
still
were
the
again, like I
federal-
said,
right,
it sounded
but that's
like,
still like
scare stories, whatever. I just thought it was interesting when
it's
people
still
were saying
like the
these things.
federal government, though, right? And the federal government
Sure.
sees it as dope right now, like
Right. So at
worse
least if we
than
get,
heroin.
at least if we get to medicine, then it's like
At least if we get to medicine
Right.
and
What the
all
fuck
of
are they
that,
gonna do
whatever
to
the
us?
federal
Right.
government thinks, oh, you can't smoke it, you can't do this, you can't do. The state already said
Right.
it's cool. The feds not the feds aren't raiding the states off
Right.
of that shit. They're
Right.
not like this is just lightening and loosening shit and making things like there's all the, whatever, fucking. I mean that. It should be seen as medicine. Fuck it. But
Right.
at the end of the day, the cat's out the bag. Good luck putting the shit back in.
No,
It's
100%.
it's
It'll never happen,
everywhere.
sure. Yeah.
Let alone, California is a super mature market. Colorado, super mature market.
I mean, I think it's also going to be a scale to the federal government of when we need to jump in and start taking the tax money before there's so many states making their own tax money. They're like, oh shit, if we go illegal, like we can start trying to get our, you know what I mean, or get involved in the like.
I mean,
you know
they're
what
getting there
Get our
right now. They're
regulation
getting
over it right
ridiculous.
now, you know what I mean?
They're getting the most tax money they're ever gonna get from us right now, the
Yeah.
federal government. But now that more states are coming into it, and they're collecting more tax revenue on they're casting a wider net. They don't have to fucking beat us in the head as much, and they can reschedule the shit and let us pay taxes like normal people. And
Sure, yeah.
because the business isn't going to survive on the margins that it has. And you can see it in other states. It doesn't survive.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
So-
the margins are different than any other retail
Right.
business, without a doubt. A lot of people, people think that opening this business is like a fucking gold mine.
Gold mine?
It's the margins are not like any other retail business. I
No.
talk to people all the time that are starting these stores, and they're like, "Oh yeah, look at the numbers," and I'm like, "Makes no sense. I'm way more than doubling up on a ton of the stuff in my other stores. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like 5 times stuff in my other stores. Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? The margins are tough, and then you have higher overhead, higher whatever taxes, all these things. So it's definitely it's not an easy road. But no, I mean I think like the regulations around the multiple stores and all that is.
Yeah, then you can at least scale up if you're
Yeah,
gonna have
right.
a bunch of stores and shit. And you
Right,
can
I think that's definitely
reinvest shit, and
that's a
you
big
know.
difference in just building your brand around that.
But
and
nobody
growing.
wants to lend you money, so
Well, right.
yeah,
The
unless you're
banking
gonna
is fucking impossible.
right, and
for
you're
sure.
not in a conventional sense. You're not borrowing money. If you're in cannabis, you can't borrow money in a conventional sense. So you can borrow money from people like the fund that are going to beat you in the head
Right,
at 16% for 15 years, and
Right.
no prepayment penalty, fully amortized.
Yeah.
Even if you want to pay it off early, you got to pay the full amount, like that
Right.
type predatory shit like that. Those are the loan offers that you get when you're in cannabis.
Yeah.
And they don't, and that's the thing, that's how they pitched it. They were like, well, that's just what it is in cannabis. Like, God damn,
Yeah,
that
get
shit is
used to it.
cold.
Yeah.
Like, yo, that is some cold ass shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's actually not even bad for cannabis. Usually cannabis is higher rates, more like 25%. So the fact that we're only whacking you for 15% is like,
Right. It's funny they dropped the rates. It's the first ever state to be like, oh shit, we're doing really good. We need to dial it back a little bit. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sure that wasn't actually, you know what I mean? But it was funny that they did that. You would think it's like the opposite. They're like, oh well, we got it now, so we're never giving it back to them now. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
it's a pretty,
They probably saw the numbers that were going to start coming in. And were like, well, maybe people won't start coming in here if it's whatever it was, 22% or you know what I mean? So yeah.
You dropped a gem, or something that was very interesting. When you said about Florida and how it's gonna pop out there, it's 2 reasons that I know for a fact what you're saying is gonna go. Cause all right, Florida is where people get older, they move to Florida.
Right.
A lot of the dispensary clientele is older people. Would y'all say?
I mean, we
In
got
New York,
we got
it's a lot.
we got
So,
a decent amount of older people.
So
that
that's
come
one
in the
thing.
store.
And then second, there's no state tax in Florida. So like, how they're gonna be able to keep that much more of the money by not paying state tax? Like,
I'm sure
isn't
there will
that-
still be like some sort of excise tax
You think?
that the state will put on. They'll probably put some sort of extra tax, just Because
It will be the only
we need
thing
money
that's
out of it."
taxed. Like,
Yeah.
is
You
alcohol
think they'll
taxed
go that
out
far
there?
and do that? Like,
I honestly, they'll see the money and be like, no, we need like
They're
even if
taxing
it's a
it.
small percentage, but like I would.
But it might be
think
a
there's
smaller
still-
percentage.
might be a
Maybe it'll
short-
be
right.
like 5% or
That's what I was thinking.
8% or
right,
something
right.
like that.
But I would think they're
regular
going to take
sales
money off
tax.
of it somewhere, because again, it does have to pay. I understand the balance of that. It has to pay for like the department of, you know what I mean, like. But it's the same as like the OCM. Like it's, I don't know where the fuck, like if the money's going to hiring more people, it doesn't seem like it. But at least, you know, like it should equal how many people they're going to need for the state to fund that department. You know what I mean? So, but Florida will be really interesting for sure.
like Miami's already on the crust of being whatever.
Yeah.
Like that city.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's
I
stuff
think
all over
that's
the place.
all
Yeah.
it needs for it to go overboard, like of being the most popping city in the U.S. Like,
Yeah, big money will come in there, and
Whoa,
right.
that shit might be crazy in Florida.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like Puerto Rico is legal right now, right? And like, didn't like, you know, like, I don't know, I don't.
The U.S.
Well, Jay was
Virgin
just
Islands, it's legal there.
Okay, because
No,
I'll say, like, was that brand Rosa Rita that just came into New York State recently with like some rosin products, some solventless products? I guess it's a Puerto Rico based brand. Yeah, Rosa Rita. This girl I knew worked for him. I forget, Abby, I think. Yeah,
Nice.
but yeah. So I mean, like, I don't know. It's happening everywhere. You know what I mean? Like they talk about Germany. I think was just legalized pretty recently. I don't know if it was just medical, but in the last 6 months, maybe something like that. I mean, Spain, of course, is huge right now. Spain's popping off. Isn't like the cookies store? There's like a cookies something going on out there. Like Spannabis is a big event out there that they do every March. It's in a couple weeks, I think, actually.
Yeah.
So really big like culture cannabis event. You know what I mean? So it's spreading everywhere for sure. Yeah, it's going to be everywhere. Totally. I mean, I think like we were talking, you know, that's kind of one of the big differences that we're going to see is just like the stepping out of being a part of counterculture. Like I've said this to other people before, it's like always been that counterculture, whatever, moving into like standard culture. 100%.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's going to be like, there'll be, you know, like I think New York's the reason New York's going to be such a different market is like the cannabis tourism side of it. Like they already say New York is the New Amsterdam, whatever. Like New York City has the best weed. Da da da. Like I think that can be such a big thing, like events and tourism, and like bringing people in for experiences. You know, like that's the thing I'm most excited about. Just seeing like consumption. Like licensed consumption spaces or whatever, however it's going to work. You know, I chill at lounges when I go down to the city. If I try to find them whenever I can. But it's just like it's a tough space. Like there should be a way for them to operate. I don't. It's such an easy thing. I don't understand, especially in the city. It's like it's crazy. For sure. Stone Pizza Pusher. Yeah, they're
Pizza
fire.
Pusher, yeah.
They're fire. Yeah. Cakes in Long Island City. They're fire. They're fire. The homies at High Demand Social Club for sure. Yeah, totally. But so it's just like, I think that's what can really change this for sure and bring just like a new client. You know, imagine doing like some sort of a farm tour or like farm and dispensary tour around the capital region, or like a fucking wine tour. Even it's like a wine tour. You bring get people from Manhattan on a bus, bring them to Westchester and fucking go, or like Hudson Valley,
Bring
and
them to Hudson,
you go to like
go to
fucking Hepworth
3,
and whoever the fuck, you know what I mean?
Hudson
and a dispensary,
Cannabis, and then
right, and then
you
it's like,
end at a dispensary.
right, and you leave with a little gift bag, and then you're like, oh, it changes your opinion on cannabis, and like, you know what I mean? It's gonna be like, you're gonna be able to do whatever the fuck, anything you can do with anything else, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think one of our friends was trying to get a micro business license. Seemed like he wanted to do like mobile, like he owns a bar, does like mobile event catering, has like a mobile bar with kegs in it, you know what I mean? Like a trailer you can tow with kegs, go to a party, set up a bar, you know what I mean? And like, so like, imagine doing that with cannabis. You can just like, and I was trying to do that when I was still in the whatever traditional legacy market. I was like thinking about like trying, but it was still such a like weird space stigma. Like I want to do like events, like infused dinners or like something along, you know what I mean? But it was really tough. But yeah, so there's some people starting to do some cool shit.
We're gonna start doing like a paint and smoke up
That's
here.
dope. That's dope.
We're looking to get like brands to work with us on it. So I'll talk to you about.
Cool. Yeah, for
and
sure.
then we're doing. Jay's gonna do some yoga.
Oh, nice.
Jay's
Fuck
like
yeah.
a certified yoga.
Puff pose.
Puff
That's dope.
Pose.
That's dope. Okay. I like that.
So we're gonna start doing that type of like those types of events up here.
That's cool.
Utilizing this space to do more than pod. And just like
Right.
the pod is great. I love it. It's fucking amazing.
Sure.
It wasn't even a vision for this space originally. Now I want to like bring the rest of it to light and keep doing what we're doing. Take this fucking blessing that it's become anyway.
Yeah,
But still keep doing what the plan was. Throw some shows up here, you know.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, you can just bring in different people, and even if it doesn't, beyond the crowd that you're bringing in, it's more just about the image that you're giving off. That like we're more than just like a fucking weed shop.
Right.
And like we want to.
We're cultural. We're a cultural
exactly.
hub.
There's so much more to this, and like this is like what we're about, and this is what we do outside of just selling new weed, and like, you know what I mean. We want to help you with this and that, you know what I mean. So yeah, it's just like a great, and I think those are the shops that will kind of stand the test of time, that like are a part of their community and like do the right things, and are not just super focused on the retail and just like driving the numbers, and you know what I mean. There has to be a balance.
I mean, the only
There
way
has be
to
a
drive the
balance of it, too.
numbers is to like make sure that you're taking care of the people that are coming here, because you got to
Right.
give people a reason to pull up. Like,
Exactly right.
And not everybody's gonna have the same reason, so you got to give a variety of reasons to
Sure.
show up and
That's
to
a
be
good
like,
point, yeah.
you know, to look at what we're doing. And some people want the education; they want to like nerd out on the podcast and listen to us talk about regulations and fucking terpene profiles and be all weed related for an hour and a half, and then there's some people that want to just get stoned and paint a fucking painting.
Right.
And there's some people that want to fucking learn how to what the best pose is when they're high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same as like customers coming into stores. The difference of, you know, like that's why I think retail will always have that little aspect of like people being stoners and just like still having their, like, people are just not necessarily used to the fact that they're walking into like a light fucking bright store, like buying weed like from a person over the counter with their card. Like, this is kind of still a new concept to some people, whatever. So you can tell that people still walking, you know, hoodie, whatever, up and just fucking buy their shit and get out real quick. They're not looking to like have a conversation. I've seen that in dispensaries all the time. And people are just kind of quick in and out. Don't get, like, if I'm at the table, yo, what's going on? Like, you want to check out some weed? They just like don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean? They just don't. Like, people are not used to like this aspect of it, you know what I mean? So there will always be a little bit different.
We give them both.
But like,
You know
I
what
think
mean?
it's such
You
a
wanna
big thing.
You want to pull up,
right? That's what I'm saying. It's
get
like,
in and out. We got you.
exactly. It has to be like, it's so experience driven. Like, the dispensaries are all about like who's going to give them the best experience when they're in the door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
You want the most knowledgeable staff. These dudes,
Right.
these
Yeah,
dudes
for
are
sure.
that. You
Yeah,
know, they're
totally.
it. They know the fucking, and like they know the, not just about the weed and the product lines and the fucking different gummies we have and everything. They know like the customers.
Yeah, it's a different
they
skill
know
to
the
like relate
people.
it. It's a different skill to relate that to a person.
Yeah.
To like, you might know how to help yourself, but it's like a different skill to like be able to help a person find the right thing for them, for sure. So that's respectable, definitely.
We got customers that come in and just like treat us like their therapist too.
Yeah.
Like, they just come in and like talk about their life problems and
Right.
we
He's like,
definitely
I
got
know
a
what
lot
you
of
need. You need one of
cool
these.
regulars.
It's like, take 2 of these, call me in the morning.
Jay, what you got? Segment number 2.
You got to pardon me today. My voice is trying to escape me, but
What now? You know, we're gonna. I just want to continue to talk about it because, you put out an album.
I did.
It's fucking amazing.
Thank you. Yes, we put out an album.
We put out an album.
put out an
It's
album.
it's a great album.
Composition.
Composition.
Available now on all platforms. It's Calm, CALM, position. And it's a double concept. It's the ego and the self. I've already told this story a million times before.
But you know, that's the thing. We've talked about it a million times before you put the album
Before I
out.
put it
So
out.
now that you put the album out, we're gonna stop talking about it.
This is true.
That's
This is
fucking.
true.
That's some dumbass shit right
That's a
there.
fact.
That's not
That's
how
a
you
fact.
work. That's not how
Right.
shit works.
Actually, I think there's a copy around here somewhere if somebody can grab it. But it's the yin and the yang. So the ego and the self. is basically the ego.
I saw that sitting here and I was like, what is this?
That's my album.
Oh,
right there.
that's sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's basically
That's
the
fire.
ego is the part where it's like, hard hitting beats, just trying to show off my abilities rapping, and catchy stuff kind of gets stuck in your head and all that. And then the self is where I'm getting more thoughtful, more introspective, kind of the music that I like to listen to and I like to make, and just how I like showing up as a human. That's my outlet to express that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, thank you.
That's sick.
So today, again, go check that. All platforms, Composition, CALM. Let's get it. Today I said, everything loud. I'm talking loud lyrics, loud life, loud speakers, loud reefer, like I was in how high. My method is wild nice. They ain't ready, we heavy, they sound like clown type. That's that shit that I don't like. Nah, I'm downright the illest nigga around mics. You sound like you want them beans, brown rice, but I ain't hating cause my style bright. That's what you heard from your shorty gets. That's probably why you sound tight, but hate the game. Don't hate the player, cause if you was on point, the players couldn't play ya. I'm something like a ray of sunshine that shines on a hater, cause they be trying to rain my parade up. Yeah, I'm skinny, they told me to get my weight up. Now these niggas is mad cause they getting ate up, pay up. I need my dues, I don't even see the rules. You could either be down with it or you could be removed. We refuse to stop, I got to keep it smooth. So she wanna rock the boat like a Leah do. I'm just a Leo who gotta roar like a lion and put in work till I'm sore. That's why I be flying. Competition, y'all be dying. Funny niggas got me dying, about to kill him like Obama trying to fight Bin Laden. Y'all be wildin'. If I'm around, niggas got a problem. It's loud lyrics, higher volume. I'm turned up. Buddha, Buddha.
Yeah.
Look it up. Yes, you already know.
What was that
Fire.
from?
That's from Loud Lyrics. That's
Fire.
the older project. That's one of them little in the cut joints you ain't even know was on the project. That's not even a track. That's just if you let one of the songs play long enough.
Yeah.
Back in the days when they used to
Yeah,
do
like
that,
a hit
secret
track.
song, get a little secret
That's like a
song
hit
and shit.
track on Loud
so-
Lyrics. And like, how did you put Loud Lyrics out?
Loud Lyrics was a mixtape. That was the SoundCloud era.
So it's out on SoundCloud. People can find
That
it
is on SoundCloud. Yes,
right
yep.
now.
You can go and find
There
it.
you
They
go.
gotta
See, that's what I'm
fast
trying to
forward
get to. I'll be helping.
They gotta fast forward
I'll
that
be
track.
helping.
They do.
It's the only you'll find it is the only
'Cause it's
one that's
mad
12
long.
minutes. Yeah. There's actually like 3 or 4 different songs on that shit.
And I bet you that people will find that SoundCloud and then they'll hear mad of the verses that you've been spinning.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Definitely. I've been
that's fire.
dipping out the stash. Some of
Yeah,
the old
yeah.
mixtapes, some of the Thrillmatics, some of the unreleased. All
Yeah.
that. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I saw you perform at the I don't know what the Tula Festival in Albany.
Oh,
Is that what it
yes,
was?
I remember I see you after the
yep.
Cantron.
Yeah, I was like
Yeah.
walking. I was dead ass. We were just there for some other band that I was walking around and I just like look up and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Cam's on stage performing right now. What's going on? And so I just like watched it, but it was dope.
That's what's
Fire
up, man.
performance, and yeah, so it was good.
That was
cool.
a good time. Shout out to Cantron 5000.
Cantron 5000. Shout
Always
out.
holding me down for sure. That's my guy right there.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's funny.
Another Buddha brother up in here. Buddha.
Yeah, man. I guess.
I think I performed at that show, right?
You did?
I was there for that
Yep.
show.
You
Yeah.
were?
Really?
I
didn't see you.
was.
That's
Yeah.
funny. That's fire.
But I do remember you
Skateboarded over.
you left because you had to
So far,
link
I had
up
to
with
park so far
Chuhei.
away.
Like right as soon as you got off the stage, you're like, all right, I gotta go find
Yeah.
Yeah, always on the run.
I parked so
I
far
was
away,
on
I had
the
to skateboard over.
Yeah.
Remember that? I
do
can't remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah, my skate
yeah.
deck. Like,
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't spent a ton of time in there. Like growing up, whatever. I was definitely like about to get lost in that fucking park. What is that? Washington
It's a
Square
big
Park
park.
or whatever.
In Washington Park?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
big
Washington Park is a big park. You know, that shit was designed by the same guy that designed Central Park. Yeah.
That makes sense
Oh,
though.
in the city. Okay.
It checks out.
Same park designer.
Word. I believe it.
it's a good park.
Yeah, it's a beautiful.
It is,
Park. A
it's
lot of
a
memories.
beautiful park.
Yeah, it's, yeah, during the day.
Word.
7.9 out of 10.
On the scale of city parks, I mean, it's definitely the best park in all.
They
Yeah,
got the pond. They got
Oh, Albany
Basketball
standard
courts.
is 9.9.
yeah. That's the best one.
In relation to right.
What's the best place because all dispensaries are the same, but I guess we talk about ours, but, or when you're going into a dispensary, what's the best location to have your product placed in a dispensary and have? Like, what's the in aisle in Walmart for a dispensary?
So for us, from the perspective of a dispensary, we like to have all the products that we're carrying displayed 3 times in 3 different places if we can. So like we have like the display cases in the center that have just kind of the products, how they are, and like the flower will be out so you can see it, and then all of the vapes in one space, and then we have them kind of like around.
What's the
all
center
the
position though? Like, what's the? So yeah, all right.
So it's all about like.
Where does everybody's eyes go in stage 1?
I
when they
think-
come in?
I think it's the TV.
The TV. I mean, the
The
TV.
TV's big, for
We
sure.
did start to do stuff on the TV recently, where we put like the deals that we have going on that are very attractive to a customer, and when,
Gaboo.
and then that seems to be getting attention, right?
People will just see it and be like, "Do you have that? Can I get that right there?"
Yeah.
I don't think there's a spot in the dispensary to place your product that's better than any other, because like he said, any product at any given time is going to be in multiple different places, but whatever is on that TV is going to get that most attention.
I mean, I'd say like near checkout for sure. And then near the register is pretty valuable. Real estate for sure. Anything around the register
true.
is very
That is
valuable.
For sure.
You know, and definitely, you know, kind of when you first walk in, it depends. It's always store dependent, and
Yeah, I was
comes
gonna
down
say.
that comes down to good store design. If they design it with more of a, you know, some stores are more boutique. They want you to come in and hang out a little bit and talk to you about strains or whatever. And then some stores can, I mean, you know, every store can do both, but like some stores can do volume and actually have people come in and out the door very fast. You know, you need to have some sort of carousel or something along some, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So we have the pickup window. So if you
Right,
want to
and you
pick
at least
up,
have that
it's
thing
people in
separating
and
so
out,
people
and then
can
you
walk.
have people that walk in. They work with, and then because we have the bud tenders on the floor taking orders,
Right.
and then with an iPad, and then when the order comes out, they can get rung out by either that same bud tender or whoever is available to ring them out. So these guys work like the whole staff
Right.
does a really good job at working as a team. So when the weed gets served up, it gets out quick.
sure.
But also, and then there is like that minute or two that they're waiting, and the store has to. I think that's good real estate, because I'd see people that they're like looking around, they're looking at the shelves, they're looking at the displays
and that's
while
what,
they're
at
waiting.
that point,
for
most
their
of those
weed,
shelves,
and
most of
then-
those shelves are the same value, whatever. All
Yeah,
the, even
yeah.
the ones on the shelves are all
Right, they're walking
what I
around
mean?
checking them all out. They're like going over and looking at the
You know,
merch, and
like-
they're like.
but that's what
it's
we were
like-
talking
it's
about.
Good.
It's-
If good store design, like you said, and
Right.
good like workflow.
But then beyond that, it's on the brand to have, like we were saying, like when I walk into a store, like if I'm new to New York dispensaries, if I never shopped at, maybe I bought fucking robes and whatever on the black market for years. Some of these brands have been around on the black market, which is another thing. And I don't know any of these brands. The only thing that's going to jump out to me is like the display or the packaging. You better have like the fucking best display or the best packaging. Like I need to literally walk in and like be drawn to yours above all other things. What else other than seeing it on a bud bar and liking it, or a bud tender recommending it? You know, I heard some stat. It was like 74% of purchases are off of bud tender recommendations. So like it is huge what the bud
I
tender
would
does
say
for
that
sure.
that is-
The bud
that's a
tender has a
fact.
huge influence for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like people walking in, and you know, at stores with big volume that just people come in and they're like have a line of people. Like your display better be fucking the best, and like, or at least eye catching or descriptive enough that people are gonna want the product. You know what I mean? Like it's got to stand out. You know, it's
Right,
always-
because in this market there's a lot of SKUs, right? So you're.
So
and it's still retail. There's all these new people coming in
Yeah.
who are used to walking into a Target or a
But
Walmart or whatever.
So then it's
and-
like making sure, but you're right though, the bud tender's recommendation is huge,
Bud tender
so you
recommendation,
also
for sure.
have to like, the brands have to come in and like to get some FaceTime with the bud
That's- yeah,
tender.
building
and
that connection
and
is
build
huge,
that
too, for
and
sure.
let people know what the goal is and what they're trying to do, and how and how to sell their flower, right? And why it makes sense to sell their flower. And,
Right.
You know, all that shit has to be conveyed.
And that's why we try to be pretty particular with who we work with. We don't necessarily want to be in every single store.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so we can like feel like it's a fit and feel like they are looking for our type of product and their demographic likes our type of product.
Yeah.
And I get it. Not like some stores like.
And you don't want to oversaturate markets either, because there's like certain markets that are,
100%.
That have a ridiculous number of stores. And I'd say from your perspective, your goal is to like find this volume stores, and not spread yourself around a bunch of stores that your net 30 is going to turn to a net 90.
Well, yeah, that, and just it's also the distribution cost of more stores.
Right,
every store has a cost of delivery. If they're close
It
together,
adds to your cost,
great.
right.
But marketing, sending the marketing team to do a pop up or any events,
Right.
doing all these things. If the scale is not there, then we're kind of losing money. You know what I mean? So
Right,
it
right.
all adds up. It all eats into it. Marketing is fucking super expensive. You know what I mean? We're really trying to up it right now, get all this like cool, nice. I got some pins for you guys, like some small shit. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to. We got some cool new merch coming for sure, but it's like it's hard. Shit gets expensive. For sure.
It fucking does.
Yeah. So we're.
Marketing is
we're
weird
getting
in the cannabis space, too, and
There's supposed to be
with
some
the
new,
regs and shit.
there's supposed to be some new regulation.
Yeah.
I'm sure you saw something about that.
Yeah, but it's not
I don't-
it's not out yet though, right? It's like still just
I don't know, and I don't-
proposed or whatever.
I guess, yeah. I don't know how they could even impose that or.
If we're allowed, will we put the big sign out?
I would say I've already been thinking about this a lot. I want to do like just stage one dispensary across written out with like the ST1D like lit a different color, so that
Oh yeah.
and that is actually legitimately they can't prevent us from doing that because it's just you're only technically allowed to have your fucking
The word.
your name, no logo.
Yeah, the giant stage 1 sign and light in the store
In
that
the
was supposed to
store.
be outside the store.
Right. Was it for a while?
No,
just never
they never let us do it.
Yeah, that's
So we
tough.
always hung it
I
inside.
mean,
We
yeah,
were
like-
gonna put a mural on that wall, but then that sign ended up there. It was like,
I mean,
fuck
our
it.
friends Sashi's in Boston Spa, they're like about to have their grand opening in a couple weeks, whatever. But a couple weeks ago, the OCM basically told them to cut, like they put kind of like a mural thing on the wall on the window of the owner Sasha, and it was like whatever, maybe 5% see through. It was not fully blacked out, like frosted out, whatever you want to call it. And so they showed up and like made her. There's a tarp on it. Last time I was there, she had to put a tarp on it, and it was old like a Stewart's. It was a Stewart's building on a corner that they have. Great corner, a lot of traffic. Whatever, is going to be a good spot. Whatever. And there's this beautiful like thing on the window, and they basically were like, "Yeah, no, you got to fucking cover that."
Wow.
And it's like, really, we're worried about that of all like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sucks.
Like, it was just crazy. So yeah, they're just But then I have seen some stores that just don't have the frosted glass anymore, and so I'm kind of like confused on where the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The enforcement is just all over the place.
I mean, we don't have frosted glass, but we
You guys don't really have a lot of like frontal
you can't
space.
you can't see from the sidewalk into our place.
Right.
So that was like you have to walk up the ramp, and then even once you get to the front door, you can't see into the space.
Right, you can't see shit. Yeah.
And that's
sure.
what that was like important to us on our build is like we didn't want to have to frost our glass and make it feel all fucking
Right,
weird
exactly.
and you can't like our fucking door has a bunch of stickers on it. That shit looks funky as fuck. You when you walk up, that shit is a dope store.
Right.
We're not.
Yeah, it just adds to the stigma of it. Like,
Yeah,
we
exactly.
gotta hide it.
You gotta hide it
Yeah,
now.
for
We're
sure.
chilling.
Yeah, right.
So we designed the store specifically to be that way, inviting
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, that's cool.
Uh,
That's awesome.
it's all part of it.
No, that's great. Yeah. How's everyone feeling?
Shit.
Cool.
All right.
How we feeling?
Well, feel like this, you know, the episode. When you never know when to end an episode, and then the episode always comes to like a natural end.
That's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I
That
feel
was
like
it
we're all
right
fucking. Yeah, I think we're all at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking pretty. I don't know about y'all, but I'm definitely super fucking stoned.
Yeah.
I've been super fucking stoned.
fried for sure. Yeah.
Stage
My
one
brain showed it out
podcast.
twice this episode.
Yeah.
Huh?
My brain showed it out twice this episode.
Yeah, for
Stage
sure, for
one.
sure.
Well, all of
Thanks
ours
for
did.
having-
We couldn't
thanks
think
for
of what we
having
were
me,
talking
guys.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you
Remember
for
that?
having me,
Yeah,
guys.
they was out
That was
there.
awesome. That was fun.
Shout out to Alex, Revert.
Thank
We
you,
got
guys.
Golden Garden.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. Yeah, for sure.
Good one.
Check
Check
us out.
out their
Yeah,
new
definitely.
infused pre-rolls.
Infused pre-rolls. We got the Golden Garden flower. Ton of
Golden
new stuff. for
Garden
sure.
flower.
Yeah, definitely.
Pull up.
These will be for you guys. Take them, smoke them, whatever.
Fuck
Let
yeah.
us know what you think.
Appreciate you, man.
Definitely.
And composition.
Yeah.
Make sure you go stream that bitch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every platform.
Fact.
Fire it up.
Stage one podcast. Stoop the store, legacy the legal. You know how we do. Peace.
I be on that OG, tell you about the OG, piling up the roaches, got me feeling rosy.